Chapter 1156. Jing Yunzhao said casually, purposely trying to disgust her. Are you serious? But I clearly remember that he was very good-looking. Hua Tianxian's face was full of disbelief, but she had drunk too much before and her memory was a blur. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't remember anything. Plus, Jing Yunzhao's words made it seem like the other party was really ugly. You vomited when you saw his face. How can he not be ugly? If you don't believe me, you can ask Haiqing. Jing Yunzhao said seriously. Celestial Immortal Hua was shocked to hear this. She vomited? That person was so ugly that it could shock the heavens and make ghosts weep. Luckily, Jing Yunzhao was there and did not let anyone take advantage of her. Otherwise, she would have suffered a great loss. Hua Tianxian patted her chest. Then, she smelled alcohol on her body and hurriedly changed her clothes. However, she took out a name card from her pocket and handed it to Jing Yunzhao. Jing Er, who gave me this name card? On the name card, there were 3 words, Jin Iran, and his number. What did Jin Iran mean by this? He actually secretly stuffed a name card into Hua Tianxian's clothes. Fortunately, Hua Tianxian had drunk too much. Otherwise, she would probably go to that bar often in the future. The other party did not have good intentions. She had to prevent him from interacting with the people around her as much as possible. Jing Yunzhao tore the name card and said seriously, Tianxian, don't go to that bar in the future. That bar owner is not a good person. He has some grudges with me, and I am afraid that he will seek revenge on the people around me. The bar that you, Qizhong, and I went to before is not bad. You will definitely be safe there. If you want to go out and relax, you should go there. The bar that Li Xiaoyun's 6th brother opened was very good in terms of environment and other aspects. Jing Yunzhao wanted to find an excuse to scare her and forget about this matter. However, after thinking carefully, what if the other party met Hua Tianxian again? Could it be that she could say that he was ugly? It was better to be straightforward and explain the reason to avoid any misunderstandings. Jing Yunzhao was very serious and did not seem to be joking. Hua Tianxian also knew her limits. She clearly knew Jing Yunzhao's bottom line. If he was an ordinary person, he would not be so serious with her. After all, she was not a silly girl. Hua Tianxian quickly said, All right, don't worry. That kind of place is full of good and bad people. Since you've reminded me, I won't be stupid enough to go there myself. Even if that man looks like a flower, I promise I won't take a look at him. She wasn't a pervert. Men had to be tough to be handsome. But when she thought of this, Qi Zhong's face appeared in her mind again. She suddenly wanted to slap herself. That person treated her like a blade of grass and never cared about her at all. She was really stupid to think about it so much. Besides, he already had a blind date. Although he hadn't chosen the right one yet, since he had already made up his mind, he couldn't waver no matter what. As for Qi Zhong, he kept it in his heart and buried it. Jing, if your man went abroad, then did his brothers go too? Although she thought so in her heart, she couldn't help but ask. She felt that Qi Zhong was a very strange man. He was obviously an instructor, but when she wanted to investigate his background, she couldn't find anything. However, she was sure that he was a soldier. So why did he suddenly go abroad? Could it be that he was also a technical soldier and went abroad to learn things? Hua Tianxian pondered in her heart. Jing Yunzhao didn't think too much and directly nodded. Chapter 1157. Hua Tianxian's heart was uneasy. She felt that Qi Zhong's sense of responsibility was too heavy and didn't seem like a normal soldier. However, regarding their specific situation, even if she asked Jing Yunzhao, she wouldn't be able to get any answers, so she could only make wild guesses. After yesterday, Du Lin sent food over personally, which made Yao Baobao very happy. Jing Yunzhao and Hua Tianxian were observant people. When it was time to eat, the two of them would automatically disappear. Du Lin would personally send the food to school, and the two of them would sit on the lawn and eat together. In just a few days, Yao Baobao and Du Lin's relationship had become much closer. Almost every day, Jing Yunzhao would hear her calling out, Big brother do this, big brother do that, nonstop. For example, what kind of new dishes Big Brother Do made today? What kind of jokes Big Brother Do told her? What kind of things Big Brother Do taught her? In short, she was very patient. Every day when she returned to the dormitory at noon, she would have a blushing face. It was so noisy that even Jing Yun Zhao felt a little uneasy. Looking at this situation, Yao Baobao's feelings for Du Lin might be deeply rooted. If Du Lin suddenly became irresponsible, then wouldn't Yao Baobao, a little flower in a greenhouse, wither away in an instant? If Li Xiaoyun was here, she could ask him a few more questions and find out what Du Lin had experienced since he was young and whether he was a sentimental person. However, he was on a mission and his phone was turned off. Even if it was turned on, she didn't dare to send him a message. After all, in that kind of dangerous environment, every small factor could be the source of failure. Jing, Big Brother Du asked me today if I want to be his girlfriend. How do you think I should answer? A few days later, Yao Baobao came back from outside and asked Jing Yunjiao, "You should ask me this kind of love question, not Jing or..." Hua Tianxian rolled her eyes. However, Yao Baobao didn't give her face. Jing already has a boyfriend, but you still don't have one. In an instant, Hua Tianxian choked and was speechless. Do you like him or not? If you like it, just say yes. If you don't, just say no. What's so hard about that? Jing Yunjiao said matter-of-factly. I nodded and said I liked it, but he asked me again if I liked him or if I liked the things he made. Yao Baobao looked depressed. How was she going to divide it? If Big Brother Du did not know how to cook so many delicious dishes, her heart would not have sped up at first sight of him. However, if there were only those delicious dishes without Big Brother Du, she would get sick of eating them. When Jing Yunjiao heard this, she was somewhat speechless. It was obvious that Du Lin was teasing her. This silly girl actually ran in front of the three of them and asked this and that. Was she sure she wasn't showing off her affection? Jing Yunjiao ignored him and continued to tease Heidi. Not only her, but even Hua Tianxian and Ren Xingyue pretended not to hear her. The two of them were just teasing each other. Only a fool would join in and seriously analyze and explain for her. Seeing that everyone was ignoring her, Yao Baobao became anxious and sent a message to Du Lin in a silly manner. In the message, there were a few crying faces, as if they were forced to choose the former. It was as if they would never be able to eat delicious dishes after choosing Du Lin. Yao Baobao was definitely Jing Yunjiao and the other's delicious dessert. When they saw her acting silly, they were overjoyed. After so many days, Jing Yunjiao's side was unusually quiet. She even heaved a sigh of relief for her leisure time. However, just as she felt relaxed, someone came to her door, as if sensing that she was free. Chapter 1158. Jing Yunjiao's daily life consisted of 3 points, 1 line, wandering between school, the Su family, and Celestial Crane Hall. The people around her were also clear about this. On the weekends, she would spend most of her time at Celestial Crane Hall. But today, Shi Yijiao actually appeared once again. Shi Yijiao was the only grandchild of the Li family. She had been spoiled since she was a child. However, Li Wenba was a strict man. Although Shi Yijiao was arrogant, she was much better than Su Yu. Jing Yunjiao had just sent a patient away and was getting some rest when Shi Yijiao plopped down in front of her. Beside her was Qiao Zizhou. Jing Yunjiao couldn't help but be surprised. Cousin, I'm here to ask you out to play. Want to come? Shi Yijiao raised her eyebrows and smiled. Her head was slightly raised, and she looked quite proud. I'm not free. Get lost. Jing Yunjiao only glanced at her before she replied. What are you pretending for? Aren't you just a doctor? There are so many people here. Do you think you won't be able to handle everything without you? Besides, I'm already giving you face by asking you out. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, Shi Yijiao said. She pulled Qiao Zizhou closer. He's your younger brother, right? What a coincidence. We just confirmed our relationship. As an older sister, shouldn't you help us celebrate? When Jing Yunjiao heard this, she glanced at Qiao Zizhou. She noticed that the brand of the clothes he was wearing today was a notch higher. He looked much more handsome than before. In his current state, it was impossible for him to buy such expensive clothes. It seemed that Shi Yijiao had paid for it. Sis, you said that the company wasn't yours before. Now I know that you were lying to me. If it wasn't for Qiao Qiao Zizhou paused. Forget it. I'm too lazy to talk to you. Anyway, Qiao came to play with you. As her cousin, you shouldn't reject her. Come with us now. It's not far anyway. We're all young people, and you won't be at a disadvantage. Xiao Zizhou said it as if it was natural. He even frowned as if he was letting her off easy. The wounds on his face healed faster than Han Nan's. I said, I don't have time. Either you get out of here, or I'll ask someone to throw you out. It's up to you. Jing Yunzhao didn't have time to deal with these two kids. No time. Haha, that's too bad. A friend of mine from an entertainment company invited a lot of celebrities to a party. There are a few rising stars and many beautiful women, such as Muru, Yiwan, and Xiao Xiao. Shi Yijiao started counting on her fingers. Jing Yunzhao paused. You investigated the people around me? That's true. Shi Yijiao smiled. But cousin, Xiao Xiao is a public figure. I just happened to hear Zizhou say that she's your friend. Since you're friends, of course you should come out to play together. Don't you think so? At present, there are a lot of big companies that want to sign her. But in the end, she's just an artist. If she offends someone she shouldn't, she'll be suppressed in the future. Shi Yijiao's slender fingers gently tapped on the table in front of Jing Yunzhao as she spoke slowly. She was young and only a student, but she knew a lot of rich and powerful people, including herself. Coincidentally, one of her classmates was the son of the CEO of an entertainment company. They had a good relationship. As long as she opened her mouth, she could guarantee that Xiao Xiao would be excluded in the industry. Chapter 1159. Shi Yijiao's nails were also covered with shiny little diamonds, which looked very delicate. Her hands were like a piece of art, which was really beautiful. However, Jing Yunzhao looked at her tapping on the table like she was playing music. She frowned, and a trace of displeasure flashed in her eyes. Okay, I'll go with you. Jing Yunzhao moved the medicine pillow on the table to the side, as if it would be contaminated by Shi Yijiao. It was just meeting with a few little girls. It was just a small matter for her. She didn't believe that Shi Yijiao could do anything under her nose. That's good. Shi Yijiao smiled with satisfaction. Jing Yunzhao got up and asked the medicine boy to put her medicine box back to its original place. Then she lifted her feet and walked away. You're not going to change your clothes? Shi Yijiao frowned and pointed at her clothes and asked. And Jing Yunzhao didn't even raise her head. Shi Yijiao curled her lips with some dissatisfaction. If it wasn't for her grandfather who asked her to have a good relationship with Jing Yunzhao, she wouldn't be so polite to her. She even took her to meet her group of friends. She was too cheap. Moreover, Jing Yunzhao didn't give her any face. Her background wasn't very good, and now she was so slovenly. She would definitely be laughed at by her friends. Really, Jing Yunzhao actually wasn't wearing a skirt. She was wearing a simple pair of jeans paired with a white long-sleeved shirt. Her long hair was tied up high, revealing her bright and clean forehead. She was full of spirit, but she lacked the delicate air of a girl. However, this was a pharmacy and not a restaurant. She had always been formal when she came here. If she were to dress gorgeously, she was afraid that the patients would think that she was unreliable. At the moment, she wasn't going to dress up to cater to Shi Yijiao. At the entrance of the Immortal Crane Hall, Shi Yijiao's car was parked. There was a driver in the car who opened the door for her. The driver looked respectful. Cousin, this big hospital belongs to my grandfather. Don't you think it's very grand? Let me tell you, there are more magnificent things. My grandfather not only opened a hospital, but also many pharmacies. Many famous doctors are his disciples. Not only that, this hospital has also received many high-ranking military and political figures. It's not something a small clinic like yours can compare with. Shi Yijiao said proudly as they passed by the nearby hospital. Jing Yunzhao just snorted and didn't say anything else. She had also done some research recently. The Li family was a shareholding company, and Li Wenba's shares had been diluted. Most of the other shareholders were people who used to have connections with the Jing family. In the past, it was because there was no one else in the Jing family that he, an outsider, was in charge. However, it was hard to say what would happen in the future. What she wanted was a chance to make a name for herself. Only then would she be able to convince the shareholders that she, Jing Yunzhao, was the rightful successor of the Jing family. What are you sneering at? Xiao Zizhou was very dissatisfied and said, I heard from Jiao Jiao that your grandfather also went to look for you. It's fine if you're not filial to my parents. After all, you're not blood-related. But how can you be so rude to your own grandfather? You really disappoint me. However, when he finished speaking, he looked again and saw that Jing Yunjiao was actually closing her eyes to rest. Suddenly, his heart deflated again. When you see my friends, don't mention your parents. Also, don't say that you and Jing Yunjiao used to be brother and sister. Otherwise, others would know that I took someone with such a background to be my boyfriend. How embarrassing would that be? Shi Yijiao pointed out from the side. Xiao Zizhou's face darkened, but he still nodded. Chapter 1160. Jing Yunjiao was speechless when he heard this. He was full of admiration for Xiao Zizhou's shamelessness. I remember you mentioned to me that you had a girlfriend. Is it her? Jing Yunjiao opened his eyes and couldn't help but ask with a sneer. His ex-girlfriend? Before Xiao Zizhou could speak, Shi Yijiao said, that girl's family background is not bad, but she despises the poor and loves the rich. She's not like me. I don't care how he used to live. Anyway, my parents love me. As long as I like it, I can do whatever I want. Zizhou wants to be a doctor in the future. Any hospital in our family can satisfy him. After he graduates, he won't have to worry about his job or his future. That girl can't do that for him. Jing Yunjiao's mouth twitched. Xiao Zizhou and his ex-girlfriend were still together a few days ago, but this Shi Yijiao got promoted so quickly. The speed of changing girlfriends was really shocking. At this time, Xiao Zizhou curled his lips and glanced at Jing Yunjiao. Wasn't it all her fault? Otherwise, he wouldn't have broken up with his ex-girlfriend so quickly. After he was admitted to university, his living expenses were always insufficient. Fortunately, he got a good girlfriend who could share part of his burden. That girlfriend was also very obedient and sensible. She never gave him any trouble. However, a few days ago, he found out that Jing Yunjiao's net worth was not low, so he showed off to his girlfriend. Jing Yunjiao used to be raised by his parents. Wasn't her money his? Therefore, he immediately promised his girlfriend that when he got the money from Jing Yunjiao, he would buy her the things she liked. He even said that he would meet her parents with his girlfriend. Not only that, he even promised to ask Jing Yunjiao for help so that her parents' small company could have a better opportunity to develop. His girlfriend also spoke quickly. In the blink of an eye, she mentioned it to her parents. However, who knew that Jing Yunjiao lied to her? At that time, he actually denied the fact that she had opened a company. He fought with the boy. When he went back, his girlfriend asked for the reason and he told her. Later, his girlfriend broke up with him, saying that her parents could accept his poverty, but they couldn't accept his lying. At that time, when he heard this, he was dumbfounded. Of course, he was not reconciled, so he quarreled with his girlfriend. In the past, that woman was gentle and considerate to him, but suddenly, she became very realistic. This matter even spread out. Now, many people in the school knew that he was pretending to be Jing Yunjiao's brother, so they disdained him. At that time, he met Shi Yijiao and found out that Jing Yunjiao had a lot of money. Thinking of this, Xiao Zizhou became even angrier. He really didn't know what was wrong with Shi Yijiao. When she mentioned Jing Yunjiao, she was obviously disdainful. Now, she was so polite to him. Could it be that the Li family was not as rich as Jing Yunjiao? Xiao Zizhou didn't know much about these families and companies. He was afraid that Shi Yijiao was deliberately exaggerating her wealth. He felt a little uneasy, but he couldn't ask directly, so he felt even more uncomfortable. Not long after, the three of them arrived at the place. It was not an entertainment place, but a villa. After entering, they found that it was very luxuriously decorated. The music was loud and a little harsh. There were bottles of wine on the table. There were many men and women in the house, and they were all very young. Chapter 1161. As soon as Shi Yijiao appeared, the leader of the group stood up and walked to Shi Yijiao. He handed her a glass of wine and yelled, "Why are you only here now? Everyone is here. I want to pick someone up. Hey, it's these two beside me. One is my friend, and the other is my cousin." Shi Yijiao introduced them. When the other party heard that, he glanced at the two of them and fixed his gaze on Jing Yunjiao. His eyes lit up. Let's go inside and play." As he spoke, he reached out to grab Jing Yunjiao. Jing Yunjiao dodged to the side and walked towards Xiao Haiqing. At this moment, Xiao Haiqing was sitting in the corner of the sofa. A man kept pouring wine for her. She drank one glass after another as if she was drinking water. She didn't feel any pressure at all. Jing Yunjiao wasn't worried that others would use drugs on her. Jing Yunjiao had given Xiao Haiqing all kinds of pills a long time ago. The prescription of the knockout pills and aphrodisiacs on the market was more or less the same. As long as she took one in advance, there wouldn't be much of a problem. Even if she felt drugged, she would have enough strength and time to leave. Behind him, the man didn't get angry when he saw that Jing Yunjiao didn't give him face. He smiled and walked inside with Shi Jiao. As for Qiao Zizhou, he followed behind, feeling a little unhappy. He was a man and also wanted to save face. However, Shi Jiao introduced him as a friend in front of others. It was obvious that she wanted to draw a line between them. On the way here, she told him not to embarrass himself. Now, she didn't even acknowledge his existence when she saw another man. She didn't even think about who had told her so much about Jing Yunjiao's childhood, burning the bridge after crossing the river. She even said that she didn't despise the poor and favored the rich. Bullshit. Qiao Zizhou was unhappy, but he didn't show it on his face. He followed obediently and sat at the side. When he saw so many beautiful girls, his heart skipped a beat. He was quite familiar with these people because he often saw them on TV. They were so-called young actresses and the like. He didn't expect that Shi Jiao's words weren't completely false. At the very least, her friend should be a very influential person in the entertainment industry. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to invite so many artists over. This was a rare opportunity. Qiao Zizhou grinned and reached out to take out his phone, preparing to take a photo as a memento. After all, these people had never seen him before. What are you doing? However, before he could take a photo, the man stared at him and questioned him. After he finished speaking, he threw Qiao Zizhou's phone on the ground with a pa sound. What are you doing? I was just taking a picture. Qiao Zizhou was a little confused. How could this person be like this? He had just bought this phone. Take a picture? The man sneered. Are you an idiot? Who allowed you to take photos? Who do you think you are? Paparazzi? Although it was just a simple party, it would be different if he took a picture. If it was spread out, people might think that it was some bad party or transaction. It would affect these artists and him. Everyone was in this industry. Of course, they knew what could be done and what couldn't be done. They just didn't expect such a stupid person to challenge the bottom line. When Shi Jiao saw Qiao Zizhou make a fool of himself, her face was a little ugly. She brought this person here. If he made a mistake, it was equivalent to her not having a good eye. Okay, young Master Ko. He's a fool. He doesn't know the rules. Punish him later to perform a show. Chapter 1162. Shi Jiao was also the daughter of a famous family. Young Master Ko still had to give her face. Immediately, he glared at Qiao Zizhou and pointed at his nose. Grow a brain. If it weren't for Jiao Jiao, I would have thrown you out. What an idiot. Looking at his cowardly appearance, he knew that he was just an ordinary person. If he was in the entertainment circle, he wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Moreover, he even took photos when he saw a celebrity. What an ignorant person. Qiao Zizhou's face was ugly. He couldn't wait to leave, but he felt that it would be more embarrassing if he left. Moreover, Shi Jiao would definitely be angry, so he could only endure it. After thinking about it, he prepared to sit next to Shi Jiao, but young Master Ku had already taken the seat. On the other side was another boy he didn't know. His face was getting worse and worse. This Shi Jiao didn't treat him as a boyfriend at all. Otherwise, she wouldn't have ignored him and played with another man. What kind of rich young miss was this? How could a woman be like this? She was already taken, but she was still so indecent. Why are you here? Who is this Shi Jiao? Is she the cousin you mentioned before? Xiao Haiqing asked suspiciously. When the boy next to her saw another girl approaching, he was overjoyed and quickly poured a cup for Jing Yunjiao. That's right. Jing Yunjiao nodded and asked, This young Master Ku, what's his background? Him? His background is not small. He is the #1 young master in the entertainment circle. His father is the boss of the biggest film company in the circle. His mother is also very powerful. She works in the official examination bureau. His aunt is a senior actress. His uncle is a film emperor. His uncle is a director. Even his aunt is one of the most influential agents in the circle. What do you think will happen if you offend him? Xiao Haiqing sneered and introduced him. Jing Yunjiao didn't know much about the relationship between these people in the entertainment circle, but he knew that they were very powerful. How did he find you? Jing Yunjiao asked again. This is quite strange. In fact, we haven't met before, but he contacted my agent, Ling Lin. If he didn't come, my current work would be reduced by more than half, so there was no other way, Xiao Haiqing said. She knew that she wouldn't be at a disadvantage, so she reluctantly came. She wasn't afraid of drinking. After all, her biggest strength was her capacity for alcohol. As for other things, if this young master Ku really dared to do something dirty, then she could only take action. In this circle, it was impossible to refuse anyone's invitation, but it wasn't difficult to maintain a bottom line. Jing Yunjiao nodded. She knew that Shuri Jiao must have asked young Master Ku to do this. Even though you're here now, I feel that young Master Ku still won't let you off. Shuri Jiao doesn't like me from the start, so she won't let you off easily, Jing Yunjiao explained. Xiao Haiqing raised an eyebrow. Seeing that Shuri Jiao, who came with Jing Yunjiao, was so familiar with young Master Ku, she knew the reason why she came. It doesn't matter. Although their family's connections are very wide, they can't be considered to be all-powerful. They just want to suppress me. They can't ban me. Besides, I have a TV series to appear in recently, and I just finalized a role. It can't be changed. I'm not afraid of him interfering. Xiao Haiqing smiled confidently. Although young Master Ku's family's film company was the most famous, it also had its rivals. She just happened to be choosing a company to sign with, so she was not afraid of being completely cornered. Moreover, Yuan and the others who came this time were all from young Master Ku's company. Looking at the level of the artists, she didn't want to be birds of a feather with them. Chapter 1163. Although Xiao Haiqing said it casually, Jing Yunjiao still felt a little guilty. However, after thinking about it, he suddenly pursed his lips and smiled. Previously, we agreed that your first commercial must be given to me. Although your fame is still average now, we can make the commercial more popular. Then, it might be able to help you. He could give her the endorsements of several wines and 3 wine companies. Not only that, there was even a tea brand endorsement. Even for Yunling medicine, as long as the design was good, Xiao Haiqing could also do it. Xiao Haiqing's image was very malleable. Whether it was a black-bellied girl or a pure girl, she could play it well. Xiao Haiqing's eyes widened. You really want to give me the endorsements of several companies? This isn't very good, right? What's not good about it? Keep the goodies within the family. Isn't it just the endorsements of a few companies? You have to know that the commercials now are similar to micro-movies. If you shoot it well, it will be very useful for you. Jing Yunjiao suddenly became earnest and well-intentioned. She thought for a bit and even continued, actually, now that you mention it, I think it's fine for you to be an advertising queen for now. Anyway, if you're suppressed, you'll have nothing to do anyway. Oh right, didn't I donate 80 million to charity before? My uncle said that some of the funds were used for public service advertisements. If I suggest it, you should be able to do it. Xiao Haiqing's mouth twitched. She suddenly felt that she had hooked up with a rich man. However, it was quite refreshing to listen to. I feel like I'm being kept by you now. Yunjiao, you're a good thigh. Xiao Haiqing acted coquettishly. Jing Yunjiao was stunned. What good thigh? However, after thinking about it, she should be saying that he was very generous, right? However, if he wasn't good to her, who would he be good to? She was her first friend in both her past and present life, a confidant who would do anything for her. Not to mention a few advertisements, even if she had to take out a sum of money to set up an entertainment company to support her alone, she would be willing to do so. It was just that Xiao Haiqing had her own plans. As the two of them whispered to each other, the eyes of the boy beside them lit up when he saw Xiao Haiqing suddenly smiling so happily. Just as he was about to speak, Jing Yunjiao glared at him like a cold knife. Suddenly, he felt like a cold wind was blowing, and he felt very uncomfortable. At this moment, the actress named Mu Ru stood up and started to dance under the cheers of several young people. Mu Ru had a straightforward personality. She was also hot and had an excellent figure. Her bright red lips and wavy hair were able to liven up the atmosphere. Young Master Ke looked at her with satisfaction. His eyes were almost attracted to her, and he didn't even know that the wine dripped onto his pants. Young Master Ke, your clothes are dirty. Let me help you wipe them. Muru took a tissue and sat directly on his lap. Her hands moved around his clothes, looking more like she was teasing him. Xiao Haiqing and Muru acted as if they didn't see it. The two of them chatted happily. This Muru was only a second-tier actress. Yuan, who was next to her, was much better than her. She was very popular, but actors always passed quickly. Many people took advantage of the time when they were still famous and liked by people to find a rich young master to marry, so that they wouldn't be slowly squeezed out by the young people in this circle. And this young Master Ke was definitely a good choice. When Yuan saw that young Master Ke's attention had been snatched away by Muru, she was a little unhappy. In the next second, she stood up and suddenly walked over to change the fast music to a slow and somewhat enchanting tune. The weak flickering light shone on her charming eyes, making them hazy. Step by step, she twisted her slender waist. The few men who were watching didn't even blink. Chapter 1164. Compared to Muru, a woman who had always been pure and innocent suddenly showing off, she gave off a different vibe. Hence, she quickly stole the limelight. Ke Xiaoyan originally thought that Yuan was just a gentle girl who couldn't let go of her emotions. Now that he saw her acting this way, he was a little happy. He immediately dragged a few people to dance with him, shaking his head. Two beauties, come and play with us. What's the point of just sitting there? Not long after, Ke Xiaoyan swaggered in front of Jing Yunzhao and said casually, No need, no need. Jing Yunzhao and Xiao Haiqing said together. When Ke Xiaoyan heard this, he frowned and suddenly raised his hand. When the people around him saw this, they all stopped in suspicion. Some even hurriedly turned off the music. Other than the lights that were still flashing, everything in the room was quiet. Beauty, you're already here. You ignored me when I talked to you and asked you to dance. What do you want? Ke Xiaoyan asked directly. Shi Jiao was even more unhappy. She had sincerely invited Jing Yunzhao out to play. Who was she trying to show her serious face to? Did she think that everyone owed her? Cousin, Ke Xiaoyan and I have been good friends for many years. His temper has always been good, but if he really gets angry, no one can stop him. Give me some face today and apologize to him. Then we can play as usual, okay? Shi Jiao said with a frown. At this time, there were two handsome men beside Shi Jiao. They were the legendary little fresh meats. Xiao Zizhou had long been left to the side. He was drinking alone, his face red from drinking. What's your face worth? Jing Yunzhao sneered. I promised to come just now, and I've already done it. In order not to disturb you guys, Haiqing and I will leave first. Forgive us for not keeping you company. Stop right there. Shi Jiao shouted directly. She sighed and said angrily, What do you mean? Everyone is having a good time now. Why do you have to dampen our spirits? Shi Jiao, if you didn't ask Ke Xiaoyan to invite Haiqing, do you think I would come? Jing Yunzhao said darkly. Shi Jiao choked. That's right, little Xiao didn't exist at all, because she wasn't a contracted artist of young Master Ke's company. She usually couldn't come to this kind of occasion, but she knew about the relationship between Jing Yunzhao and little Xiao from Xiao Zizhou, so she felt that little Xiao might be useful. And the truth was, the moment Jing Yunzhao heard the name of the actor, he immediately agreed. No matter what, since you're already here, you're not allowed to leave. Otherwise, you won't be able to survive in this circle as a friend. Shi Jiao threatened. It's not up to you to decide whether or not we can survive. Jing Yunzhao snorted and stood up with Jing Yunzhao, completely ignoring him. Jing Yunzhao, you're just a wild phoenix among pheasants. What do you have to be proud of? I've already been very polite to you. Don't be so shameless. If you dare to step out of this door today, do you believe that I won't let everyone know about your scandal? Shi Jiao saw that Jing Yunzhao was ignoring her, so she suddenly threw out another sentence. Jing Yunzhao stopped in his tracks. I didn't know that you knew about my scandal. Why don't you tell me about it? It was strange for a woman like Shi Jiao to be with Xiao Zizhou. It seemed that there was something fishy going on. Humph, I think you're guilty. right? Sure, Jiao smiled. You and your best friend Little Xiao aren't good people. Don't think that I don't know. Chapter 1165. Sure, Jiao stared at Jing Yunjiao and Xiao Haiqing provocatively. The people around her were still a little afraid of Miss Sure, so they all stood behind her. As for Yuan and Mu Ru, they already had a problem with Xiao Haiqing, so they were naturally gloating. What did Xiao Zizhou say to you? Jing Yunjiao asked with a sullen face. He said a lot. Do you want me to tell you everything one by one? Sure, Jiao laughed and then slowly said, I sincerely treat you as my cousin, and I also want you to follow my grandfather's wishes and return home, but that doesn't mean that I think you're the same as me. You can go and ask around. Which family's daughter has been wandering outside for so many years like you? And what have you been doing all these years? I heard that you've done a lot of laundry and cooking since you were young. You've even helped Xiao Zizhou and his father wash their feet. In that Xiao family, you're not even considered their adopted daughter, but more like their servant, right? You've been a slut for more than 10 years, and now you're acting so arrogant in front of me. Who are you trying to impress? That's not all. Xiao Zizhou told me that you used to have many men, and many of them were hoodlums. You had a bad reputation in school, and your style was a mess. You were lucky to get good grades and go to a good school in the capital, but that doesn't mean that everything is in the past. If I want to, I can beat you back to your original state at any time. As for those 2 companies of yours, they're just small toys. Our Li family can destroy them if we want to. Sure, Jiao boasted shamelessly, and her face was full of joy. When Jing Yunjiao heard the last part, he looked at the person in front of him with even more disdain. Sure, Jiao probably didn't even ask around about Yunling and Yuling companies. Destroy those 2 companies? Even Li Wenbo couldn't do that. Didn't she think about what a military background was? She had a prescription in her hands that could save the lives of countless soldiers. Destroy her? If she really died, the next person to die would be Li Wenbo. As for the other words that had a bad reputation, Jing Yunjiao glared at Xiao Zizhou. He could imagine that he was the one who spread the news. Back then, when she had just reincarnated, her reputation was indeed not good. However, things were different later on. It had long been proven that Xiao Hongye was the one behind it. Now that the time realm had changed, those matters of the past had even less of an effect on her. You and Xiao Zizhou are a match made in heaven. Jing Yunjiao sneered. What do you mean? You don't want to admit it? Sure, Jiao retorted, and then angrily said, Fine. I know I don't have any evidence, so there's nothing I can do if you don't admit it. But the person beside you, she's different. Sure, Jiao suddenly pointed at Xiao Haiqing with agitation in her eyes. She killed someone when she was still in high school, right? There are quite a few people who know about this, but at that time, it was only proven that she killed in self-defense, so she was released. But no matter what, the severity of the word murder is not something you can imagine. Moreover, she is a public figure. Do you think her fans would be able to accept it if they knew that their idol had done such a thing? Would she still be able to survive in this circle? Sure, Jiao laughed even more arrogantly. When she saw Jing Yunjiao's expression change slightly, she finally felt that she had pinched her weak spot. Don't be anxious. I haven't even finished speaking yet. Sure, Jiao even added another sentence. Chapter 1166. Yuan, Mu Ru, and the others were shocked when they heard Xiao Haiqing's words. They couldn't believe it, but they were excited when they found that the 2 didn't refute it. If this matter was spread out, Xiao Haiqing would definitely be finished. Recently, the media was very funny. They promoted Xiao Haiqing every day, saying that she was the most promising artist at present. The director also said the same thing. He even decided to make Xiao Haiqing the most important supporting actress in the next stage of the palace drama. The female lead of the drama was a super A-list actress. Xiao Haiqing had a big advantage. But now, if it was spread out that she killed someone at that time, people would only say that she was vicious both in and out of the show. No matter how many important roles she played, she wouldn't be able to make a comeback in the future. Xiao Haiqing's eyes were gloomy at this time. She remembered the time when she, Jing Yunjiao, and Ji Shanshan were almost hit by a car. At that time, if Jing Yunjiao hadn't pushed her away and dragged Ji Shanshan away, she would have been dead on the street. At that time, She didn't think so much. She thought that Jing Yunzhao had an accident. She was burning with anger and cut the driver's neck. Later, with the help of Jing Yunzhao and the Tang family, plus she was still underage at that time, there was nothing wrong with her testimony, so she was acquitted. However, this matter had a big impact on her. For a long time, no classmates dared to approach her. In their eyes, she became a perverted murderer. But she never regretted it. Shi Yijiao's face was full of confidence. She even took out a stack of photos from her bag. Little Xiao, your past is really wonderful. I can't believe it. If Xiao Zizhou didn't know you and kept the previous photos, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to get such wonderful things. In the photos, it was James. Xiao Haiqing clenched her fists. Jing Yunzhao's killing intent was even stronger. That year, she and Xiao Haiqing took a new set of photos to whitewash, but at that time, she didn't expect Xiao Haiqing to be an artist. For an artist, any stain could affect their life. Not to mention Xiao Haiqing's career had just started. Once news of this spread, her future prospects would be greatly reduced. This Shi Yijiao was really daring. How is it? Can you stay now? Shuri smiled. Jing Yunzhao's footsteps seemed to be filled with lead. She turned around and prepared to walk to the sofa. However, just as she moved, Xiao Haiqing grabbed her and said, I, Xiao Haiqing, will never be someone's puppet. You can do whatever you want with these things. Anyway, they are all things that have been done. I can't deny it. Even if you don't do it today, someone will mention it in the future. Rather than saying this to Shi Yijiao, it was more of an explanation to Jing Yunzhao. When she was preparing to step into this line of work, she had already thought about the possibility of her past becoming a target. Murdering, raping, and even being a delinquent for a period of time when she was a teenager, hanging out with a lot of hooligans. These were facts that could not be changed. No matter what method she used, there would be traces left behind. It was just that she had some lucky thoughts in the past. She felt that as long as she became famous quickly, she would have more ability to deal with these things in the future. But now, she suddenly felt that her previous thoughts were too naive. Xiao, as long as you make Jing Yunzhao promise to return to the Li family, listen to my grandfather's words, change her surname, and give up a portion of the company's shares, I'll definitely bite the bullet and never mention anything about the past between you two. Everyone here also won't say a single word about it. Otherwise, I definitely won't let her off. Chapter 1167. Shi Yijiao felt that this deal was worth it. In her opinion, Jing Yunzhao should be surnamed Li. After all, there was no such thing as a granddaughter taking after her grandmother's surname. As for those companies, if she hadn't taken the Li family's medicine and wine recipes, she wouldn't have been able to develop them to such an extent. Now, transferring the company's shares to her grandfather was even more reasonable. You want to exchange a few photos and some old stories for so many things? You're really greedy. Xiao Haiqing chuckled. You said that you can do whatever you want with the things. I, Xiao Haiqing, don't care if my reputation is ruined. However, if one day I'm forced into a corner, even if I die, I'll do everything I can to drag you down with me. Shi Yijiao, Xiao Zizhou, you too remember this. Xiao Zizhou drank until he was dizzy. He raised his head and looked at Xiao Haiqing in a daze. In the next second, his head sank and he fell to the ground drunk. After Xiao Haiqing finished speaking, she almost forced Jing Yunzhao to leave. What else could she do but leave? If those things could be found once, they could be found a second time. Everyone could use them to threaten her. Yunzhao, relax. We can't kill them all, right? There's no other way. Even if Shi Yijiao is gone, someone else might pop up in the future, Xiao Haiqing said as soon as they walked out the door. Jing Yunzhao let out a sigh. At that moment, she really did have the thought of killing everyone present and throwing them into her space to cleanse the mess. However, it was a little ridiculous. Come back to the Su family with me first. I'll ask Uncle for help, if any media dares to expose. Humph. Jing Yunzhao's face flashed with a murderous look, making people feel that the surroundings were cold. Xiao Haiqing nodded helplessly, but she knew the situation in her heart. She had long heard from Jing Yunzhao that the Li family and the Su family were sworn enemies. Moreover, Uncle Su had tried to kill the only male descendant of the Li family many years ago. The Li family was not weak either. Even if Uncle Su made a move, it would be impossible for him to block all the news. Besides, Yun Zhao was Uncle Su's niece. As an outsider, it felt weird for her to ask the Su family for help. However, she really needed a quiet place to stay now. The Su family was a good place to stay. Moreover, it wouldn't take long for the news to spread. When that time came, as a rare homicidal maniac in the entertainment industry, she might become famous in an instant. At that time, many people would definitely keep an eye on her. It was better to hide. As soon as the two of them left, Shi Jiao was so angry that she was trembling. She threw those photos on the ground. She had already taken out such a thing, yet Jing Yunjiao still refused to compromise. What right did she have to be so arrogant? Miss Shi, these photos, do you really want to release them? Yuan asked carefully. Shi Jiao glanced sideways at her. Of course. You and Xiao Haiqing don't get along, right? Yuan was startled. She really didn't like Xiao Haiqing. Previously, Xiao Haiqing had found Shun Tong to back her up, causing her to almost fall. However, she didn't want to be the first one to stand out. If she were to release the photos in front of so many people, it would definitely affect her image. Then you think of a way. I hope you can do it well, Shi Jiao said directly. Although she was young, she couldn't disobey her words. Yuan was a little embarrassed. She didn't know what to do. She looked at young Master Ku for help, but young Master Ku still knew the difference between a woman and a friend. He didn't help at all. At this moment, Mu Ru, who was dressed delicately, said to Shi Jiao, "Why don't I do it? I promised to make Xiao Xiao infamous." Chapter 1168. After Mu Ru finished speaking, she took the initiative to pick up the photos on the ground one by one. Shi Jiao glanced at her and said to the man next to her, "Miss Mu Ru is quite discerning. She's so loyal. Young Master Ku, you have to help her more in the future." When Mu Ru heard this, she was instantly overjoyed. She didn't have any deep hatred with Xiao Haiqing. It was just that because they acted in the same TV series, many fans like to compare the actresses together. Although she debuted earlier than Xiao Haiqing was young and beautiful. She was also liked by the director and some staff. Even many fans thought that she was better than her. Competition was everywhere in this industry. If those rumors were spread by the fans, then Xiao Haiqing would become better and better in the future. Moreover, it was equivalent to stepping on her shoulders to climb up. How could she be willing to accept this? Now, as long as she did as Shi Jiao said, she could destroy Xiao Haiqing and curry favor with young Master Ke. It was a good thing. She wouldn't act like Yuan, pretending to be kind and pure. However, when Yuan saw that Mu Ru stood up for her, she was instantly overjoyed and secretly scolded her for being an idiot. When she wanted to destroy Xiao Haiqing, she saw that she was a newcomer and didn't know how to behave. At that time, she didn't know that her friend had a shocking identity. Shi Jiao's cousin was even more precious than Shi Jiao. Moreover, wasn't there a recent rumor that the boss of Yunling Pharmaceuticals and Yuling Wines was called Jing Yunjiao? This name wasn't common. If it was the girl just now, once she offended her, even if she made Xiao Haiqing's life difficult, wouldn't she be at a disadvantage? Only a self-righteous idiot like Mu Ru would think that working for Shi Jiao would give her a better chance of development. Even if there was, it would only be temporary. The side effects in the future would be huge. Both of them had their own ulterior motives. Jing Yunjiao and Xiao Haiqing went directly back to the Su family. On the second day, the news spread like wildfire. Jing Yunjiao turned on the computer. The web page was almost filled with Xiao Haiqing's name. Her past deeds had all been dug up. Even though Jing Yunjiao had asked the company to put pressure on a few media outlets, as long as this kind of thing was leaked, it would cause a big reaction. "Little Zhao, what are you looking at?" Su Wenqing looked at Jing Yunjiao staring at the computer intently and couldn't help but be curious. Xiao Haiqing sat on the other side of the sofa. The two of them maintained the same posture, frowning as they moved the mouse. Jing Yunjiao was in a daze and didn't hear his second uncle's question. Su Wenqing raised his eyebrows and came over. He vaguely saw the words murderer and Xiao Haiqing. He immediately looked at Xiao Haiqing in astonishment. Last night, Xiao Haiqing stayed at the Su family. Could it be because of this matter on the internet? Su Wenqing usually didn't pay much attention to entertainment news, But now that this matter was related to his niece and her friend, he couldn't help but snatch the computer from Xiao Haiqing's hand to take a look. She actually killed someone. This is too scary. How can such a person be a celebrity? She should be banned. Why can a murderer act and not be arrested and sent to jail? Is it because of the man in the TV show? Xiao Zhao's backing is really strong. I definitely don't want to watch her dramas anymore. I think that a life for a life should be exchanged for a life. When she was young, her parents didn't teach her well, so she should be punished by the law. Call the police and arrest the bad guy. Chapter 1169. Su Wenqing scrolled down page by page. He could feel the hostility from the netizens through the screen, and his face darkened. He was only looking at the netizens' comments, and he didn't know what had happened. However, he could tell what was going on. Almost every one of them mentioned murder and rape. No matter which one it was, the impact would be huge. What is going on? Su Wenqing almost smashed his laptop. He stared at Xiao Haiqing and asked. Xiao Haiqing was shocked. She looked at Su Wenqing strangely. Everyone knew that she had killed someone. This morning, the servants of the Su family looked at her with suspicion. How could Su Wenqing not know about it? The entertainment industry doesn't lack this kind of news. Everyone kicks a falling wall, even if it's an insignificant one. Xiao Haiqing smiled and said directly. Everything had its share of popularity. Now that her incident had just been exposed, it was fresh. However, everyone's attention would be diverted in another direction within a month. Although it would still affect her in the future, it wouldn't be as extreme as it was now. I just want to know why you spread this kind of news. Aren't you an actress? Even I, an outsider, know that this kind of news can't be cleared once it's exposed. Don't you know? Su Wenqing was a little angry. After asking a few more questions, he said gloomily, tell me clearly now. What's the reason behind the murder and rape? Is it real or fake? Who was the one who spread these things? Among Jing Yunzhao's friends, he had the best impression of Xiao Haiqing. She was beautiful, and her character was straightforward but not stupid. She should have a promising future. But now, something like this had happened. It was really inconceivable. Xiao Haiqing's eyes flickered. She turned around and asked Jing Yunzhao for help. At this moment, second Uncle Su was too fierce. If it was someone else who was being nosy, she would have ignored them. However, he was Yunzhao's second uncle. He was an elder. However, just as she tilted her head slightly, Su Wenqing said coldly, why are you looking at Xiao Zhao? This is your problem. I'm asking you now. Xiao Haiqing's mouth twitched. He had already said that it was about her, so why was he still so? Jing Yunzhao was also shocked. He felt that his second uncle's reaction was even bigger than his own. But thinking about it, his second uncle had always been an extremely picky person. He was dissatisfied with Li Xiaoyun. Now that he thought that Xiao Haiqing had caused trouble, it was normal for him to be unhappy. Second uncle, Jing Yunzhao spoke up to remind him. After being called by Jing Yunzhao, Su Wenqing was also stunned. He felt that he was being nosy. However, since he had already said it, he couldn't take it back. Moreover, what was wrong with him being an elder and caring about the younger generation? Xiao Haiqing's mother had passed away, and her father didn't care about her. She didn't even have any relatives by her side. He already had Xiao Zhao as his niece. Now, it was just one more thing. I was too harsh with my words just now, but this matter is very serious after all. If you really let it get out of hand, your future will be ruined. So, tell me in detail now. Maybe I can come up with some ideas for you. Su Yuanqing restrained himself a little and said calmly, second uncle, it's actually my fault. It's Li Wenba's granddaughter's fault. She wanted to use these things to threaten me. However, Haiqing and I didn't agree to it. Chapter 1170. Jing Yunzhao looked serious and apologetic as he explained to Su Wenqing. When Xiao Haiqing heard this, she hurriedly said, I already said that it has nothing to do with you. As long as these things have existed, they will surface sooner or later. It's just a little early. Yunzhao, you don't have to take responsibility. If it was really wrong, then no matter what, it couldn't be blamed on Jing Yunzhao. Back then, the murder was the result of her impulse. And these rumors were also because her father sold his daughter for glory. Even if it weren't for Jing Yunzhao, she wouldn't have just made some news like this. She would probably have been introduced to some strange men by her father. She wouldn't even be free. And sometimes, she often dreamed that she was in a luxurious house. She seemed to have fame and status, but she wasn't happy. Many people pointed at her and kept insulting her, saying that she was a bitch and a jinx. In her dream, she would lock herself in a dark room and cry until dawn. She seemed to be resentful of someone in her heart, and her hatred was monstrous. Although it was just a dream, the frequency of that dream increased year by year after she met James. Sometimes, it made her a little absent-minded, and she always felt that it was too real. She even had a premonition that the person who could make her so resentful was probably her father. Existed? They said. Su Wenqing's body subconsciously tensed up, and he always felt a little disgusted with this feeling. The figure in the red light flashed in his mind, and then he thought of those so-called photos. He always felt angry that his beauty was being peeped at. Seeing that Su Wenqing was really concerned, Xiao Haiqing didn't hide it. She opened a news article written by a media outlet and said, "These photos are from my high school days. There was a little accident at that time. After getting drunk, I was almost raped, so these things were taken." Almost? So you didn't succeed? Su Wenqing raised his eyebrows and asked. Xiao Haiqing glanced at him. Whether or not she succeeded wasn't the most important thing now, was it? Because in other people's eyes, she was already a woman who could be spurned. Yes. Fortunately, I learned a few self-defense moves from Yun Zhao and escaped at the critical moment. Xiao Haiqing nodded. Su Wenqing's eyes flashed and his body relaxed a little. What about killing people? Is it real too? Yes. Xiao Haiqing nodded and admitted. Haiqing thought that I had been hit by a car, so she miraculously killed one of the truck drivers. The driver didn't have good intentions. Haiqing was just angry because she was scared. Later, the police confirmed this. Otherwise, she would have been arrested a long time ago, Jing Yunjiao said. Su Wenqing fell into deep thought. He had underestimated Xiao Haiqing in the past. He didn't expect her to be so bold. She shouldn't have been that bold back then, right? He actually dared to kill people. But on second thought, it was the same for Xiao Zhao. It was because she lived a hard life and had no one to rely on that she appeared to be easy to bully and would attract trouble. How do you plan to deal with this matter? After a while, Su Wenqing asked again. Xiao Haiqing shook her head. There's a time limit to the popularity of this news. It's better to wait until they're done scolding and then come out to explain. What about you? Su Wenqing asked Jing Yunjiao. Jing Yunjiao's eyes were cold. I've already thought of some ways to deal with it, but I don't know if it'll work. After all, I'm afraid that I won't be able to return. Chapter 1171. To Jing Yunjiao, Xiao Haiqing meant something different to her. In her previous life, she was someone she envied. She envied how she could not care about how others looked at her and live freely. A woman who was above many people and lived as she wished. Even though she could feel that her life was not very happy, it was still better than her not having any opportunities at all. And in this life, she was someone she could rely on. Friends, confidants, best friends. She hoped more than anyone else that Xiao Haiqing could usher in the most beautiful ending in this world. She hoped that it would be more beautiful, brilliant, and clean than her previous life. It was as if only by seeing her change the trajectory of her life would she feel that the path she was on now was also brilliant. Meat buns hitting dogs? What do you mean? Seeing Jing Yunjiao's uncertain expression, Su Wenqing also asked curiously. It's impossible to erase the past, but it's not impossible to completely shut the mouths of others. Jing Yunjiao's eyes flashed and continued. Xiao Daoan was the one who committed the sin back then, so naturally he should bear the consequences now. Haiqing, your stepmother Jiang Rong's only purpose now is to keep an eye on Xiao Daoan. There's no point in torturing her any further. Why don't we end it once and for all? Return her 2 sons to her, and give her a sum of money so that she can tell the truth. Don't forget that she was also tricked by James at that time. Now, give her a chance to clear her name and ruin James and Xiao Daoan's reputations. She can also show that she is innocent. No matter what, that James is already dead. As for the meat buns I'm talking about, that's money. It's a charity in your name. It's calculated according to the number of likes you get for the whitewashing content you post. However, you'll have to find a professional to calculate the data and deduct the money represented by the popular negative comments with a lot of likes. This way, no one will pay attention to those negative comments posted by the internet water army. No matter how bad they feel about you, once it involves charity, there will always be someone who will represent justice and spread the light of the Virgin Mary, Jing Yunjiao said with a smile. She was not a profiteer and had done charity more than once. The amount of money she took out each time was not small, and most of the time, she let Qin Shui handle it in a low profile and never made it public. But now, if Zhang Yang could bring her some benefits, she was willing to do it. But when the time comes, people will probably say that you have a powerful backer. At that time, I'll just stand out. As long as the backer isn't a man, there won't be any scandals. Jing Yunjiao added. By the way, you also need to explain the murder. The best way is for the police to take action. Now, because of your murder, some people have begun to doubt the fairness of the authorities. It's not difficult for them to come forward and clarify. Even if they don't want to, there's my uncle. After Jing Yunjiao finished speaking, Xiao Haiqing secretly clicked her tongue. He silently sent it to Jing Yunjiao and gave her a thumbs up. Isn't your method a little too direct? Throw money at them? Now, her Weibo had already fallen. In a short period of time, the number of comments had almost reached 1 million. The problem was that this was only the first day. When she posted a clarification, the netizens would probably go crazy if they found out that the number of likes was related to charity, right? What if it exceeded 10 million? I only have money. What else can I do? Jing Yunjiao suddenly showed a trace of grievance and asked Xiao Haiqing. The latter's eyelids twitched fiercely. Don't flaunt your wealth. The damage is too high. Xiao Haiqing curled her lips and did not know what to say. Chapter 1172. Xiao Haiqing was a little awkward. Although she felt that Jing Yunjiao's method was too direct and rude, she had to say that she also felt that the feasibility was very high. But in this way, it's not an exaggeration to say that she was in debt, right? Even if it was Jing Yunjiao, she didn't want to owe her too much. She may need to take out tens of millions to help her. How could she pay this debt? I think you're going to sign an entertainment company anyway, but instead of being controlled by others, it's better to find your own way out. If you don't want to owe me, then I'll pay for a small entertainment company. You can earn the money back for me. After paying off the debt, we can run it together. What do you think? Jing Yunjiao also knew what she was worried about, so he said immediately, Yunjiao, you know that I can't refuse your proposals now. Xiao Haiqing smiled bitterly. Now in her state, there is almost no way out. But Jing Yunjiao wants to sort out a bright road for her in this sky full of thorns. Then don't refuse. I'm not doing it for you. Now it's more profitable to make movies or TV series. I also want a piece of such a big cake. Besides, you've seen young Master Ke's appearance. Do you think I can tolerate him continuing to threaten you with his power in the entertainment industry? You can offend him because of me. Now I'm paying you back. Jing Yunjiao looked serious. She has always been a well-behaved person. As long as others don't provoke her, she will always guard her own things. But if someone repeatedly challenges her bottom line, then she doesn't need to be polite. She can't guarantee anything else, but as long as it can be solved with money, it's not a problem. Well, from today on, I will work hard to make money to pay off the debt. Xiao Haiqing finally decided. That's right. Jing Yunjiao smiled softly. Now we're not in a hurry to explain. Let's watch them make trouble. The person who scolds you the most fiercely now will be the one who will be spurned by thousands of people in the future. Xiao Haiqing raised her eyebrows. She was stunned by Jing Yunjiao's words. She remembered that Jing Yunjiao was so angry yesterday that he almost listened to Shi Yijiao's words. She didn't expect that after she calmed down, she would think of a solution so quickly. However, Su Wencheng, who was next to him, was slightly dissatisfied. Did he not have any effect at all? All the good things were done by Xiao Zhao alone? If that was the case, wouldn't it show that his previous concern was lacking in follow-up? Xiao Zhao's method is also very good, but I advise you to divert some of your attention. That is to find the person who pushed this matter forward. Whatever the other party has done, as long as it is immoral, it can be made public. The two of you stand on opposite sides, and when one side is attacked, the other side will benefit. Don't you think so? Su Wenqing thought for a while and said. Jing Yunzhao nodded in agreement. Xiao Haiqing also couldn't deny it. After the three of them came to a decision, Jing Yunzhao immediately started to prepare to register an entertainment company. The name of the company was simple. He settled on Genie Media. The paperwork would probably take a few days, but these few days could be used to prepare other things. At this time, the insults outside were still incessant. The director who originally found Xiao Haiqing to work with was a little annoyed at this time because the media was too torturous. In order to prove the viciousness of Xiao Haiqing, this murderous demon, almost all the crew members were interviewed. Almost all the time, there were people asking him questions, but he wasn't worried that Xiao Haiqing would affect the ratings. He wanted to curse in his heart. Chapter 1173. As a public figure, Xiao Haiqing was involved in the negative news of murder. Anyone would think that she had no future. However, the director felt that it was a pity. There were too many zombie faces in the entertainment industry. Xiao Haiqing's face was very rare. She was beautiful and not pretentious. She could play all kinds of roles. Although her acting skills were not top-notch, to be honest, she had improved a lot. She was also smart and much better than many of the A-list young actresses. As long as she was given time, it would not be a problem for her to become a best actress or even a best actress in the future. Moreover, after getting along with her for a few months, he felt that the little girl was a very sensible junior. No matter what, he did not think that she was evil. There were many people who had the same thoughts as the director. However, everyone knew that it was useless to say anything at this time. Although they wanted to help her in her hour of need, they were afraid that it would be useless and affect their own reputation. They could only remain silent. However, although no one supported her on the surface, in private, many people who had worked with her before sent Xiao Haiqing messages to express their concern and hoped that she would be strong enough to pull through. Jing Yunzhao had been following Xiao Haiqing's Weibo for the past few days. The top 10 popular comments were all bad comments. They were the most popular of those comments. Every comment had more than 200,000 likes. The highest comment had already reached more than 500,000. Jing Yunzhao sneered in his heart as he watched the millions of charity funds secretly fly away. On the other hand, Xiao Haiqing hadn't gone anywhere recently and had been staying in the Su family. Other than going to class, Jing Yunzhao would always come back to accompany her, making her feel that her days had suddenly become extremely leisurely. Although she felt like she was about to collapse when she saw those comments, under the care of the Su family, she instantly felt that the opinions of outsiders were not that important. A week later, Jing Yunzhao and Ling Lin, the manager, stood beside Xiao Haiqing and said, "You can't always hide at home. I've helped you get this public service announcement. I'll go with you." Shoot a public service announcement now? Are you sure the officials won't complain about it? Xiao Haiqing was dumbfounded. After we finish shooting this commercial, it'll be time for us to do charity. Isn't that perfect? Jing Yunzhao said calmly. Su Wenqing realized that his niece was extraordinarily concerned about Xiao Haiqing. Every time she encountered something related to Xiao Haiqing, she would instantly turn into a worried old lady. Her indifference and calmness were gone. If it weren't for the fact that Jing Yunzhao was different from usual when facing Li Xiaoyun, he would have really thought that there was something wrong with his niece. Xiao Haiqing was now like an obedient child. She listened to whatever Jing Yunzhao said. Debtors, sure enough, they had no confidence. Xiao Haiqing silently mourned for herself. However, the feeling of being cared for and forcefully protected by someone was not bad. It was a pity that she was a woman. Otherwise, she would have to compete with Li Xiaoyun. Jing Yunzhao personally drove and escorted Xiao Haiqing to the studio. This public service announcement was a micro-movie. It mainly talked about the positive energy that poor families had to convey. It was simple but had a plot. It could see the hardships and perseverance of the poor children. It could also see the strong and brave characteristics that they exuded. It appealed to people to donate some love to change the environment in which they lived. The 3 segments in this public service announcement were about 3 different types of children. Xiao Haiqing was to act as one of the children who had grown up. She would not appear on screen for long, but she had to express the transformation and beauty in the shortest time possible. Chapter 1174. When Jing Yunjiao and Mu Ru arrived at the studio, they saw some simulated props. These were all tests of acting skills. After acting, they had to cooperate with the post-production to make something decent. However, when Xiao Haiqing appeared, it shocked the other two actors apart from the staff members. "Why are you here?" Mu Ru was puzzled and angry. It was already so chaotic outside. How could Xiao Haiqing still come to this place so openly? This was an official public service advertisement. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to receive it. If she didn't please young Master Ku, this opportunity wouldn't be hers. The three adult actors were Xiao Haiqing, Mu Ru, and a male actor named Jin Yushan. Jing Yunjiao had some impression of this Jin Yushan. He was a popular actor. Before Yuling Wine became popular, he was the spokesperson for Zhua Haiyang and James Company, who took her fake wine recipe. Later, the product incident had a big impact on him. However, thanks to this person's reputation, her Yuling Wine's reputation had taken a qualitative leap. However, she didn't expect this actor to still be doing well. Little Xiao is one of the actors this time. "Get ready. It's about to start," the staff explained very kindly. Although they didn't like Xiao Haiqing, no matter what, she had to have a backer to be able to come here. She wasn't someone they could afford to offend. Mu Ru glared at Xiao Haiqing. "You're really good. You still haven't given up? If outsiders know that a murderous demon like you is acting in this kind of public service advertisement, I'm afraid they'll throw rotten eggs at you." "You don't have to worry about that." Xiao Haiqing chuckled and then glanced at her. She originally thought that the actress who wanted her to disappear completely was Yiwan. After all, she was kind on the outside but cruel on the inside. She didn't expect that the reality was this brainless Mu Ru in front of her. She was the one who gave the advertisement to the media on behalf of Shi Yijiao. She was really crazy about being famous. "No, you can't act in this advertisement." Mu Ru was unwilling to give up. She found the official representative and said, "Didn't you see the news outside? She killed someone and has a bunch of nude photos. She's not suitable for such a positive advertisement. What if it affects Brother Shan's and my reputation? If you don't want to be implicated, you can choose not to bid. You weren't the one we wanted anyway," the representative said straightforwardly. According to their original plan, the officials would pick one person, the charity company would pick another, and the entertainment company would recommend a popular one with a good image. Their official choice was Jin Yushan. Although he had done bad endorsements in the past, after that incident, he had been very careful in accepting endorsements. Most of them were public service endorsements, and his fan base was very strong. He was a very suitable candidate. Although Xiao Haiqing had a bad reputation, she was recommended by CEO Jing of Yunling Pharmaceuticals. CEO Jing had previously donated 80 million. Not only that, ever since the company was established, he had been donating a sum of money every month. It was definitely a company with a conscience, so they had to give him face. As for this Mu Ru, to be honest, no one thought that she was suitable. They didn't know what the entertainment company was thinking. They didn't let the innocent Yiwan do it, and instead chose Mu Ru, who was always a vicious supporting actress. Mu Ru didn't expect the other party to be so direct, and her face turned red. Chapter 1175. Since her debut, she had played many roles, but none of them were outstanding. They were all vicious supporting roles. It was fine if she was just a supporting actress. After all, there were also vicious supporting actresses in the industry who were very popular because of their outstanding acting skills. However, she was the exact opposite. Others did not think that her acting skills were good. Everyone said that she was acting as herself. Even now, there were more people who scolded her than liked her. Although it was true that she didn't have a good reputation, Mu Ru was still unhappy when this person expressed his disdain. She was so angry that her face turned red. However, this was an advertisement that was funded by the government. How could she dare to lose her temper? She turned around angrily and stared at Xiao Haiqing. She was so angry that she clenched her fists. At this time, Jing Yunjiao took the initiative to walk forward. He looked at her nails and chuckled. "This advertisement isn't about a nightclub hostess. Is it appropriate for you to paint your nails so flirtatiously?" What does it have to do with you? Mu Ru said angrily. Of course it has nothing to do with me. I spoke too much. Jing Yunjiao chuckled and didn't say anything. Unfortunately, after she reminded him, the government representative also saw it. His face darkened. Where's the makeup artist? Take her to remove her makeup. This advertisement must be filmed with real feelings. How can such an image be shown on the big screen? When Mu Ru heard this, her face turned pale. Before she could react, the makeup artist had already dragged her away. After a while, the makeup on her face and hands were washed clean. In an instant, she looked completely different. Mu Ru wasn't ugly, but she couldn't stand up to scrutiny. Her eyes were small, and she usually relied on makeup to maintain her big and bright image. Her skin was also slightly rough. After all, she often used makeup and had some lead poisoning. Now that her face was completely displayed in front of everyone, she felt that her reputation had been swept to the ground. Especially when compared to Xiao Haiqing's face, it was extremely embarrassing. Actually, she could have used light makeup for this advertisement. However, who asked her to be so eye-catching before? Jing Yunjiao saw how Mu Ru looked like a defeated rooster after her makeup was removed and couldn't help but ridicule her. She flicked a small pebble towards Mu Ru's direction. Mu Ru immediately felt pain in her leg and twisted her body, causing her to fall from her 10 centimeters high heels. Jing Yunjiao could even hear a kacha sound. It's so painful, so painful. I sprained my ankle. Mu Ru did not move. Her assistant hurriedly supported her. The scene was chaotic. She was not likable to begin with, and now that she was in trouble again, the director of the advertising agency and the investor's representative were not happy. Their faces were livid as they said directly, "What's the point of filming? Switch." There were countless artists who wanted to star in this commercial. Xiao Haiqing, who had an image problem, was already bad enough. If Mu Ru, who was restless, joined in, wouldn't this group of people be angered to death? The investment representative was quite capable. He didn't even bother looking for Yuan. After all, Yuan was from the same company as Mu Ru. They were probably the same type of people. In the end, another girl was chosen. She had a good image and temperament, but she didn't have many representative works. As soon as the other party heard that they were favored by the advertisement, they arrived in less than an hour. The advertisement proceeded smoothly. Mu Ru didn't expect that the opportunity she had fought so hard for was gone just like that. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that she was furious. However, at this time, Jing Yunjiao didn't care about her anymore. Now, it was just a small interest. The day that would make Mu Ru suffer had yet to come. Chapter 1176. Xiao Haiqing's performance in the public service advertisement surprised the official representative. Unfortunately, her reputation wasn't very good recently. However, since they couldn't replace her, they could only choose to accept it. The other two actors and the small actor could also see that Xiao Haiqing's backer wasn't simple. They continued to cooperate and didn't take the initiative to find trouble like Mu Ru. After the advertisement ended, Genie Media was officially born. However, there weren't many people in the company now. Jing Yunjiao immediately asked Xiao Haiqing to change some of the information on the official Weibo account. Almost everyone could see at a glance that Xiao Haiqing had successfully signed with Genie Media. It instantly stirred up a wave. The comments below were even more exciting. Fuck. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Why haven't I heard of Genie Media? There's actually a company signing on someone like Xiao Xiao now? What Genie Media? There's no information about it on the internet at all. It doesn't seem to have groomed any famous artists. Could it be some shady company? I found out. The company was only registered a few days ago. The registered capital is actually 100 million yuan. However, this isn't the most important thing. The most unacceptable thing is that the legal person is Jing Yunjiao. Do you know Jing Yunjiao? He's the big boss of Yunling Medicine and Yuling Wine that was the talk of the town some time ago. There were experts in the comments. Not long after, the background of Genie Media was dug out. I'm starting to wonder if that CEO Jing is really a woman? Could Xiao Xiao be his illegitimate daughter? Otherwise, why would he support her so much? A company registered for 100 million yuan, and she's the only artist now. Why? Man, He's definitely a man. The comments went past a few pages almost every once in a while. Xiao Haiqing looked at her own comments and laughed foolishly. She actually said that she was Jing Yunzhao's illegitimate daughter? If Jing Yunzhao's age was announced, those people would go crazy, right? She continued to read as she thought about it. I don't understand why CEO Jing supports a murderer so much. I heard that an official public service advertisement was shot by little Xiao recently. President Jing must have interfered in it. Otherwise, little Xiao wouldn't have been able to do it. Our family's stock of medicine is basically produced by Yunling medicine. To be honest, the effect of the medicine is very good. I really don't want to go to Blackview, but I'm really disappointed. Why do you want to blacken CEO Jing? Didn't CEO Jing just register a company? Maybe that Xiao Haiqing really has something worth helping. Anyway, I'm not the kind of person who bites the hand that feeds me. Previously, when I was sick, I was in so much pain that I wanted to die. The other painkillers had little effect and were very expensive. If it wasn't for the one produced by Jing Corporation, I don't know if I could have survived until now. She's my benefactor. CEO Jing is indeed a very good person. He's very low-key when doing good deeds. My mother works at a charity organization. She said that after Yunling Pharmaceuticals stabilized, they would donate money every month. Their company's medicine isn't expensive to begin with, and they even use the money they earn to do good deeds. It's really rare. Below, the topic quickly changed. Almost everyone was talking about Jing Yunzhao's great achievements. The medicine produced by Yunling Pharmaceuticals had helped a lot of people, not to mention the money they donated. In addition, there was also Yuling wine. Almost everyone now knew about this brand. However, just as everyone was debating whether to scold Jing Yunzhao as well, Xiao Haiqing's official Weibo account began to release an explanation for the murder and rape. Chapter 1177. Xiao Haiqing personally wrote an article, recounting the whole story according to Jing Yunzhao. She bluntly told everyone that back then, Jing Yunzhao had offended someone and was attacked by 2 cars on the road. She was frightened and panicked, thinking that the other party had killed Jing Yunzhao. She was also afraid that the other party would continue to do something extreme, so she was forced to protect herself. Xiao Haiqing's words weren't too complicated. She simply recounted the incident and said that although it had happened a long time ago, it was still one of the shadows in her heart, so she didn't want to talk about it. At the same time, the police in Serene City blocked her Weibo and refuted the rumors of the murder. They also called on the citizens to work hard to protect their lives and property when they encountered danger. The effect of the police stepping in was much better than a group of people guessing. What's more, the police also kept photos of the incident back then as evidence. For the sake of the police's reputation, they immediately announced it. In the photos, there was a big truck and a private car. The traces of the collision were obvious and the scratches on the ground were shocking. It could be seen that the situation was very dangerous. After that, Jing Yunzhao arranged for a media outlet to interview Xiao Haiqing's stepmother, Zhang Rong. At this moment, Zhang Rong had already left the Xiao family. She didn't even think that there would be a day when Xiao Haiqing was willing to let her go, and was even willing to let her reunite with her son. Although she had to say some words that were not beneficial to Xiao Daoan, she already hated that so-called husband to the bone. Now, as long as she admitted that she and Xiao Haiqing were forced by James back then and didn't take the initiative, she wouldn't have to be afraid anymore. Xiao Daoan was also very troubled recently. Or rather, he was very angry. His daughter had clearly told him that she had taken on a very good role and that her development was not bad, but in the blink of an eye, she had become notorious. Previously, he had been bragging that his daughter was a celebrity, but now, almost everyone knew that his daughter was vicious and indecent. She had even forgotten who the word indecent came from. Fortunately, there weren't many people who knew that Xiao Haiqing was his daughter. Otherwise, his life wouldn't be easy. In the simple little house, Xiao Daoan took a puff of his cigarette, opened the webpage, and looked at his daughter's current situation. No matter what, he still hoped that his daughter could be well. Being an actress could earn a lot of money, and it should be able to help him. Also, his business was getting worse and worse recently, and the previous big order was gone. He wanted to know his daughter's current situation and express his concern. At the same time, He also wanted to ask her if she knew any rich and powerful people in the capital. If she did, perhaps she could help him. In any case, her reputation had already been completely ruined. Rather than wasting her youth and being spurned by others, she might as well make use of this opportunity. Xiao Daoan thought about it and denied it again. He was doing this for the good of his daughter. If she could find a good man, it would be a blessing for her. After all, an ordinary family would not want such an immoral person as their wife. He searched for Xiao Haiqing and soon, the latest news popped up. However, Xiao Daoan was suddenly stunned on the spot. He didn't even feel the cigarette ash in his hand falling onto his thigh. He only saw that the most popular news was, Xiao Haiqing, stepmother Zhang Rong? Zhang Rong? Didn't she go back to her parents' house to borrow money? Why did she suddenly appear in front of the media now? Xiao Daoan had a bad feeling and hurriedly opened it to take a closer look. However, he instantly felt as if he was struck by lightning. Chapter 1178. On the webpage in front of him, Xiao Daoan only saw Zhang Rong in the video. She was wearing a light green cheongsam with a plush shawl wrapped around her shoulders. She looked gentle, like a rich lady. She had a bitter smile on her face, and there were even tears in her eyes. She gave off a pitiful vibe. Xiao Daoan was stunned. Why would Zhang Rong appear in the video? Was she being interviewed? Could it be that her daughter's matter had implicated her? Was there a reporter who wanted to know about Haiqing's past? Xiao Daoan felt uneasy. He turned up the volume and listened to Zhang Rong's voice. Are you Xiao Haiqing's, Xiao Zhao's, stepmother? How was your relationship in the past? The reporter who did not appear in front of the camera asked. Zhang Rong looked guilty. It wasn't good. Haiqing's mother was a very virtuous woman, much better than me. She never caused any trouble for her husband, and both mother and daughter knew their place. At that time, Haiqing's father's business wasn't doing well, and her mother didn't want her husband to worry. Even though her health deteriorated, she didn't say anything until she passed away from illness. Haiqing's father only found out about it when her mother passed away. I met Daoan right after her mother passed away, and we quickly established our relationship. In less than 3 years, we got married. Daoan never cared about her children, and at that time, I was the same. Sometimes, I would say in front of Daoan that Haiqing was insensible. Actually, she was still very young at that time, and she was just a little stubborn. She wanted to attract our attention, so she did hang out with some hooligans for a period of time. However, she was very principled and didn't do anything wrong. Not long after, her grandmother found out that she didn't study hard. She was very disappointed. She was afraid that her grandmother would be sad, so she cut off all contact with the hooligans. Unfortunately, her grandmother was old and passed away not long after. Since then, she often lived alone in the house left behind by her grandmother and mother, taking care of herself. Daoan and I even sometimes forgot that we had this daughter. Zhang Rong said each word with extreme guilt. Tears fell from her eyes, and she couldn't control her emotions. She regretted it. She regretted treating Xiao Haiqing that way. It wasn't that she felt pity for her stepdaughter, but that she was really scared. She knew that Xiao Haiqing was a girl who valued relationships. If she had treated her well back then, no matter what, even if Xiao Haiqing wouldn't treat her like a biological mother, she wouldn't treat her badly either. However, she gave up on this opportunity and even walked on the opposite side of her step by step, causing the father-daughter pair to lose many years of affection. It even caused Xiao Daoan's misunderstanding of Xiao Haiqing to be unable to be cleared. The interviewer didn't expect Xiao Haiqing to have such a pitiful past. He couldn't help but feel a lump in his throat. Can you continue? The reporter asked. For some reason, he wanted to know more details about Xiao Haiqing's past life.
Yes.
Zhang Rong wiped her tears. Her eyes were red as she continued. In the past, Haiqing's grades were neither good nor bad. However, every time I told Daoan, she would say that her grades were bad, causing Daoan to have a bad impression of her. However, one year, she suddenly improved a lot and even got into the top 50 of the school. Since then, she has maintained that ranking. Her biological father didn't know anything about it at first. Chapter 1179. For so many years, we never attended her parent-teacher meetings at school. Although she had relatives, she was more like a wild child. Zhang Rong took a deep breath and continued. Haiqing cared a lot about her father. Later on, she tried her best to mend their relationship, but their father-daughter relationship was short-lived. Because Dao An's business was in trouble, the other party took a fancy to Haiqing, and Dao An forcefully sent her over. At that time, Haiqing was very pitiful. Actually, I think she knew what was going to happen at that moment, but because it was her father who made the decision, she didn't know what to do. Moreover, she drank some wine with her good friend at the banquet, so she wasn't clear-headed and didn't resist on the way. Fortunately, Haiqing learned some martial arts from one of her friends. When she felt that something was wrong, she managed to escape in time. The photos you see are all specially chosen angles. They are all scenes that can cause misunderstandings. The truth is not like that at all. The person in the photos is a pervert. When Haiqing resisted, she unintentionally injured the other party's legs. She was hospitalized that night. If you don't believe me, you can go to the hospital and check the records. The time is exactly the same as in the photos. Zhang Rong said with a firm expression. The reporter was a little angry. It was said that when you have a stepmother, you have a stepfather. This saying was not false at all. That Xiao Dao and was too inhumane. And this Zhang Rong in front of him. Although she said the truth, it was still very infuriating. Then why did you say all this? Was it because you found your conscience? The reporter asked calmly. I guess so. It's because I'm not having a good time now. Xiao Dao and is a hypocrite. On the surface, he's a good husband and father, but when it comes to benefits, he'll go crazy to the point where he won't even recognize his own family. He even, after failing to sell his daughter for glory, he set his sights on me and forced me to curry favor with James. Now, I really feel that I was wrong to have found such a man who hurt Haiqing. This time, I came forward to apologize to her and make up for my past mistakes. Haiqing is a very determined, independent, and self-disciplined girl. I know her very well. If she wasn't forced into a corner, she wouldn't do something so outrageous. Zhang Rong had been working on these words for a few days. She was sure that every word and sentence could not hurt Xiao Haiqing. Otherwise, if Xiao Haiqing was not satisfied, her future would be over. She even knew that there would never be a day when she would overturn these words. After all, she had already tied herself to Xiao Haiqing and was willing to be her stepping stone. Do you know President Jing from Jing Yunjiao? What's the relationship between her and Xiao Haiqing? Finally, the reporter asked. Them? They are very good friends. I think they are the kind of friends who would risk their lives for each other. Jing Yunjiao is very special. He has a cold personality, but he is very protective, Zhang Rong said. So you've seen President Jing before? Can you be more specific? The reporter asked curiously. This interview was arranged by the higher-ups. She was only following orders. Naturally, she didn't know that the person who arranged this was Jing Yunjiao. I think the reason why Haiqing and Jing Yunjiao can be good friends is probably because of their experiences. Jing Yunjiao didn't come from a high family, and I heard that she has suffered a lot. However, she always surprises people. Even though she's cold towards others, she has a lot of connections in business. Chapter 1180. Thinking of Jing Yunjiao, Zhang Rong felt a chill run down her spine. She felt a sense of dread and did not dare to judge her too much. Although there were many times when she saw her, she was always behind Xiao Haiqing and rarely came out to talk to her. But that kind of gloomy gaze could make people's hair stand on end every time. The interview was not long, about 20 minutes. After asking about Jing Yunjiao, the rest of the questions were about Xiao Daoan and Xiao Haiqing's past. However, almost everything made one feel that Xiao Daoan was not a good father. Not only that, at the end of the interview, Zhang Rong even said that Xiao Daoan sold the old house that his late wife had left for their daughter for the sake of business. The reporters were furious when they heard that, not to mention the audience and the fans who cared for Xiao Haiqing. However, Xiao Daoan was an exception. He did not even know how he finished the interview. His mind was blank, his eyes were red, and he was trembling with anger. Zhang Rong, how dare she? How dare she say such things? Every word and every sentence was trying to push him deeper into the pit that would bring him ruin and ruin his reputation. Selling his daughter for glory. These words were enough to make him unable to raise his head for the rest of his life. He knew that it was a mistake to give Haiqing to James, but what could he do at that time? James could decide the future of his company. If he did not listen, was he going to wait for bad luck? Besides, at that time, James was considered a man of status. Although he was a little old, he wasn't considered old. With his daughter's personality, it would be very difficult for her to find a good man in the future. James was a good choice. If it was not for the conflict with Yuling Wines, James would still be angry now. Haiqing would not have to live a hard life either. It would not be like now. It was bad enough that his reputation was ruined, but he even implicated his father. Xiao Daoan was furious. He quickly called Jiang Rong. Unfortunately, the phone was turned off and no one answered. Xiao Daoan naturally did not know that Jiang Rong, who had already finished the interview, had taken the two children to hide. She would not wait for Xiao Daoan to find her. Unable to find Jiang Rong, Xiao Daoan felt even more uneasy. He hurriedly called Xiao Haiqing. Xiao Haiqing was already waiting for her father's anger. She had been merciful to her father more than once. After all, her father had once shown her a trace of care and affection. Moreover, although she was unwilling to accept her mother's death, she was still full of love for her father. Just based on this point, she could not be ruthless. Back then, he had sided with others in the face of benefits. In order to please James, he had treated her as a chess piece. Although she was angry and resentful, she still felt a little conflicted. She wanted to look down on her father one day and tell him that she was not just a small chess piece. She also wanted to tell her father, who valued benefits, what he had lost. However, every time she met her father, her heart would become colder. It was as if he would become a different person every time they met. He was getting further and further away from her memories. This time, she personally agreed to use her father as her shield. She would definitely bear the title of being unfilial. However, when she thought of the moment when her father sold her mother's house, she still felt refreshed. On the phone, Xiao Haiqing did not take the initiative to speak. Haiqing, what's wrong with you? If you can't be an artist, then get out of the entertainment industry. Do you know that your news has implicated me? Chapter 1181. Xiao Daoan's angry roar could be heard clearly through the phone. Xiao Haiqing could even imagine her father's current appearance. He must be red-faced and furious, wishing he could appear in front of her and strangle her to death. Dad, it's hard for me to even protect myself now. What can I do? Xiao Haiqing was currently curled up on the sofa in the Su family's house. Her expression was unclear. Where's Jiang Rong? I saw the interview about her. Why did the reporters find her? And where the hell is she now? Xiao Daoan was a little anxious. Xiao Haiqing sighed softly and said lightly, Dad, Annie Jiang is your wife. How would I know where she is now? Xiao Daoan choked in his heart. He felt that something was wrong the more he thought about it. Jiang Rong and his daughter used to be harmonious on the surface, but not on the inside. Later on, the two of them became incompatible like fire and water. But he didn't know when Jiang Rong changed. She was submissive, especially when she saw his daughter. He didn't think much of it before and even thought that Jiang Rong was guilty. But now that he saw Jiang Rong defending Xiao Haiqing, a chill quickly spread from the bottom of his feet. Had his daughter changed as well? It seemed that it had been a long time since they had quarreled. He hadn't seen her biting her lips stubbornly and refusing to cry with reddened eyes. Haiqing, did you arrange for Jiang Rong to clear your name? Everything she said in the interview was beneficial to you. You're not her biological daughter. How could she suddenly have a conscience and do something for you? Xiao Daoan tried his best to relax and started to ask. Xiao Haiqing's eyes seemed to be smiling yet not smiling, but there was also a hint of desolation. Her father used to be the person she admired the most. She didn't want anything in the past. She only wanted his care and love. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he was her whole world. However, the feeling of personally killing her dreams was really cruel. Dad, don't you want me to be better? I'm being scolded so badly now. You don't want me to be unable to make a name for myself, right? Xiao Haiqing asked back. Xiao Daoan's heart skipped a beat. That feeling of guilt washed over him again like a tidal wave. It was not the first time. It seemed to be a frequent occurrence. Every time he spoke to his daughter, he would feel a panicked feeling that he had let her down. Of course I want you to be well. If your Annie Jiang can help you earn back your reputation, I won't object, but what is she doing now? Aren't you using me to pave the way for you? How could he say that he would sell his daughter for glory? Didn't I do it for your own good and for the good of our family? She herself didn't abide by the virtue of a woman, but turned around and said that I told her to curry favor with James. She actually dared to say such words. Xiao Daoan said angrily again. On the other side, Xiao Haiqing just sneered when she heard this. For her own good, she wanted to give her to a lecherous man and let him do whatever he wanted to her. For her own good, he wanted to sell his mother's house. Even when he found out that he had been cheated by Su Wenqing, what he cared about was the valuable computers and other things, not his mother's portrait and belongings. He could always say things in such a dignified manner. Things have already come to this. Dad, even if you're not satisfied, you can only accept it. This interview was released not long ago, but I think there will be many people looking for you. I'm a little busy right now. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up first. Don't look for me for the time being, because I don't want to implicate you, Dad. Chapter 1182. After Xiao Haiqing finished speaking, she didn't give Xiao Daoan a chance to continue speaking. She hung up the phone and turned it off. The number she used to contact her father was another one, mainly to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. Xiao Daoan's old face twitched fiercely. He was so angry that he wanted to throw his phone away. This girl actually dared to hang up on him? When did she become so daring? The veins on Xiao Daoan's forehead were popping out. He was completely different from the kind of father he used to be. His eyes continued to stare at Xiao Haiqing's news, and he clicked on Xiao Haiqing's official Weibo. Instantly, his eyeballs were about to pop out. The latest update was to explain the murder incident back then, and they even found the police to refute the rumors. What shocked him wasn't this, but one of the comments that was pushed to the top. That comment called for everyone to take a look at the news released by Genie Film and Television. The news actually stated that they would be making a charity donation for Xiao Haiqing, and the amount of money would depend on everyone's attitude. Then, that comment analyzed the real-time amount announced by Genie Film and Television and found that the amount of money was equivalent to the number of likes on Xiao Haiqing's Weibo, minus the number of negative comments. As for the real-time value, it was slowly increasing from negative to positive. Although there were people who supported Xiao Haiqing's whitewashing article in the beginning, it couldn't compare to the refreshing rate of those fake reviewers and anti-fans. Therefore, when that Weibo post was released, the negative comments had already received hundreds of thousands of support. Now that someone had analyzed how Genie Film and Television calculated the amount, the situation started to take a turn for the better. In addition, now that the video of the interview with Zhang Rong had been released, many people instantly felt sorry for Xiao Haiqing. Her appearance was already likable, and her peach blossom eyes were charming. However, there was a sense of gloominess in them. Coupled with that hearty smile, no matter how one looked at it, she was a girl full of stories. Now that they knew she had such a tough past and such a neglected childhood, it instantly tugged at the emotional heartstrings in their hearts. Most people sympathized with the weak, and Xiao Haiqing was now one of them. What's more, the murder had already been explained in detail. There were already many people who felt that her actions were brave and not vicious, and the rape incident had successfully thrown dirty water onto Xiao Daoan. Xiao Haiqing was a victim to begin with. In addition, the Sprite media used this opportunity to do charity. Although it felt like they were being kidnapped, many people also wanted to know if the Sprite media's promise was true. As a result, the comments started to develop in a positive direction. When Xiao Daoan saw this, his heart trembled. He already knew that Jing Yunzhao was not as simple as having a good relationship with people. She also had a strong financial background. Seeing her spending so much money for Xiao Haiqing, his heart ached. So much money was actually used for charity. He clearly knew that he was short of money, but he didn't ask Jing Yunzhao to invest in his company. Instead, he asked her to throw the money to a stranger. An unbalanced feeling came over him, almost swallowing his rationality. He called Xiao Haiqing one after another, but no one responded. Hashtag there's a kind of best friend between President Jing and Xiao Xiao hashtag. Xiao Daoan felt terrible as he looked at the topic that had attracted a lot of attention. What best friend? It was all hype. Jing Yunjiao wasn't even willing to help him. Before Xiao Daoan's gloomy flames could be extinguished, less than 2 hours later, his phone suddenly started ringing. It was an unknown number. He let out a breath and picked up the call with a glimmer of hope for Jing Yunjiao and Xiao Haiqing. Chapter 1183. The moment he picked up the phone, Xiao Daoan felt that perhaps Jing Yunjiao was suddenly prepared to give him a sum of money and let him start anew somewhere else. However, "Are you Xiao Xiao's father, Mr. Xiao Daoan? May I ask if what your wife said during the interview was true? Have you done something like selling your daughter for glory?" It was an interrogative voice. Scram. You've called the wrong number. Xiao Daoan's facial muscles twitched violently. He roared and hung up the phone. But less than a second after he hung up, the screen lit up again. Similarly, it was still an unknown number. He tentatively picked it up. Although the other party's voice had changed, the questions asked were almost the same. Selling his daughter for glory. Selling his daughter for glory again. How could these people understand the hardships of his work? He was a man. Did he have to stay at home every day like a woman to take care of her husband and children? What did educating his daughter have to do with him? He hung up again. But it was a cycle. Xiao Daoan couldn't remember how many times he had received the call. He only knew that every call was not Xiao Haiqing's voice as he had imagined. They were all people he didn't know. They were like nails, insisting on firmly hammering the words he couldn't stand into his heart, over and over again. Xiao Daoan put the phone aside. He didn't have any intention of continuing to answer the call. Seeing the screen light up, he started to panic. How could this be? That was his daughter. What did it have to do with these outsiders between them? He had raised his daughter for so long. Although he didn't care about her, he had never mistreated her, right? Why did these people feel like he was a sinner? Why did they have to bring up things from so many years ago? His late wife, asking him if he felt that he had let her down. Knock, knock, knock. As he was thinking about this disheartened, there was a sudden knock on the door. The house now was just in a remote district. It was a second-hand house, about 100 square meters. The villa from before had been sold long ago. Xiao Daoan got up from the chair tiredly and walked towards the door. He didn't think too much about it. However, when the door opened, he saw 10 to 20 people he didn't recognize swarming in through the security door. You are Xiao Daoan, right? Do you have any response to your wife's words? Xiao Daoan, I heard that your company isn't doing too well right now. Will you have any ideas about little Xiao again? You've done so many things to little Xiao in the past. Do you feel sorry in your heart? Don't you have anything to say to her and your late wife? Xiao Daoan's head suddenly felt like it was going to explode. His expression changed, and he hurriedly closed the door again. Bang! It was loud and clear, and even he himself was shocked. Then, he looked outside through the peephole with a stupefied expression, somewhat flustered. How did these people find his residence? What was he going to do? Xiao Daoan's entire person was about to go crazy. All these years, he had never encountered such a situation before. Wasn't his daughter just a minor supporting role? How did he get the attention of so many people? Both online and in real life, they didn't let him off. Just now, he had already seen those insults on the internet, and every single one of them made him want to kill someone. Xiao Daoan was angry and flustered. At this time, Xiao Haiqing was paying attention to the situation at the Su family. He had to take it step by step. What needed to be explained had been explained, but there was still more to do. Chapter 1184. The two things that almost killed her had been explained clearly, but it didn't mean that the matter was over. Next to him, Su Yuanqing rubbed his eyebrows. After seeing the level of support in Xiao Haiqing's comments, he made a phone call. Soon after, someone sent out the collected items. It's a pity that Shi Jiao isn't from the entertainment circle. We can't find anything that can be used against her. Xiao Haiqing sighed. This is already good enough. Jing Yunjiao pursed his lips and smiled coldly. As for Shi Jiao, who said that she has to be from the entertainment circle to deal with her, she would never allow anyone to threaten her in that way. No one would ever do that. It's out. After a while, Xiao Haiqing stared at the screen and smiled. This time, the news that was released was related to Mu. Mu was enchanting and had a good figure. Her entire body exuded a hormonal scent that attracted the opposite sex. She was originally just a young model. Later on, she slowly climbed up the ranks and became a vicious female supporting character. Moreover, she was the type that wasn't liked. However, her luck wasn't bad. Many people like her were still muddling along in the entertainment circle. The reason why she was able to get to where she was today was largely due to her body. She had played many roles before, but the results were mediocre. Her acting skills were that of a naturally bad person. If it wasn't for the fact that she had done many shady things in private, she probably wouldn't even have the chance to appear in front of the public. Jing Yunjiao didn't have a good impression of Yuan. Originally, he wanted to deal with her together. However, Yuan was the female lead of the drama that Xiao Haiqing had worked with. If something happened to her, Xiao Haiqing would be affected. Moreover, although that person wasn't a good person, he had good eyesight. He knew what to do and what not to do. He was a smart person. In the entertainment circle, only vicious and stupid people like Mu wouldn't be able to survive. At this time, Su Wenqing arranged for a photo report. This time, it was the real deal. Mu was completely naked and had seduced a married man. At this level, she would never be able to clear her name. After all, Xiao Haiqing really didn't do it. Furthermore, the record of James being beaten up by her was posted. Hence, everyone could understand. However, Mu was different. Mu had played many roles, but she had never become famous all of a sudden. She didn't expect that the thing that brought her to the attention of the public was what she had done in the past. This sudden counterattack made Mu, who had been waiting for Xiao Haiqing to be finished, unable to come back to her senses. She felt that many things had happened in just a few hours. Xiao Haiqing had actually made a comeback. And she, before she could react, the programs that she had previously agreed to appear on suddenly started to call her to reject her. At the same time, Yuan heaved a sigh of relief. Sure enough, it wasn't a coincidence that Shi Yijiao was exposed. After all, Jing Yunjiao was a rich and powerful person. How could he allow Shi Yijiao to do as she pleased? If she were to interfere in the battle between the two sides, she would definitely die. Not only that, but looking at the way Genie Film and Television was behaving, they were completely trying to support Xiao Haiqing. Although she had a backer, she had to be careful when dealing with Xiao Haiqing. She couldn't be like Mu, otherwise, she would definitely be the next unlucky one. Chapter 1185. Suddenly, many people felt that there was a strange atmosphere in the entertainment industry. Xiao Haiqing was practically bound to Jing Yunjiao, so she was destined to attract attention this time. However, although many people were now apologetic and supportive of her, they were even more suspicious of whether Jing Yunjiao would donate as promised. Therefore, everyone was watching. Now, the amount of money had exceeded 1 million, and some people were only participating to join in the fun. There were even people who said that if Jing Yunjiao really did as promised, they would definitely support Xiao Haiqing in every show in the future. Of course, there were countless similar comments. Jing Yunjiao looked at the crazily increasing number and just smiled indifferently. He was not too nervous. However, Xiao Haiqing looked like she was about to explode every time she saw the number of money increase by a few digits. The price of my whitewashing is too high. It's only the first day. How long will it take for me to earn back so much money? Xiao Haiqing's face was bitter, and she had already started counting with her fingers. She could not earn much from a show now. Even if she became popular, the number of shows she filmed in a year was limited. As for advertisements, except for the endorsement of Jing Yunjiao's company, she would definitely not accept any other jobs in the future. She always felt that she would have to spend the future paying off her debts. Fortunately, the number of money on the first day was definitely the highest. In the future, it would slowly stabilize and reach a peak. Otherwise, all the money she would earn in the future would go down the drain. Don't worry, you're the only artist in such a big company. Of course, I'll have to arrange your time and guarantee that you'll get your money back within 3 years. Otherwise, I'd be a failure as a businessman. Jing Yunjiao said seriously. Profiteer. Are you trying to tire me to death? Can't you give me some time to rest? Xiao Haiqing said pitifully. I will check on you regularly. I guarantee that your body can take it. Jing Yunzhao smiled. Xiao Haiqing looked at her eagerly. Then, her eyes seemed to drill into the computer, as if she wanted to monitor the numbers at any time. 24 hours later, Jing Yunzhao donated a sum of money to the charity in the name of Xiao Haiqing as promised. Some receipts for the donation were also posted, causing an uproar among the public. Chief Jing, please keep me as your mistress. I also want a friend like Chief Jing. On the second day, there was even a popular female celebrity who sent a heart to Jing Yunzhao through the air towards the reporters. Jing Yunzhao was not an artist, but he was much more famous than an artist. However, Jing Yunzhao and Xiao Haiqing used to have other classmates. Of course, it was impossible to hide the fact that she was so young. When the negative news about Xiao Haiqing slowly faded away, someone posted a complete profile of Jing Yunzhao. Jing Yunzhao, female, 18 years old. He studied in Ningxiang Township of Ning City in Yang Province during his primary and secondary school years. He had won countless competitions and awards. He studied in Huaning County No. 1 High School. In his 12 years of study, he had always been the top student and had never been surpassed before. He was the top scorer in Yang Province during his college entrance exam and was currently studying at University A. Other than her studies, she was also proficient in martial arts. She was also skilled in medicine and had already obtained her medical license. She was currently practicing medicine at Immortal Crane Hall. She was the Dr. Jing who had saved Shen Tong previously. Other than that, she was also a student of Imo Jingyan, a renowned professor in the Chinese martial arts world. She was also the long-lost niece of Su Yuanzi, the mayor of the capital, and had just reunited with her not too long ago. Although the content of the profile was not very detailed, it was still very complete. It was pieced together by many people. However, even if that was all, it was enough to blind everyone's eyes. Chapter 1186. Jing Yunzhao's almost perfect college entrance exam results were enough to make her the envy of her peers, not to mention that she was Su Yuantech's niece. However, everyone only believed half of the information. For example, the martial arts. In the eyes of others, it was at most some mediocre martial arts. After all, in this day and age, there weren't that many experts. As for medical skills, even though Shen Tong's awakening was a fact, there was no way an 18-year-old girl could be compared to a godly doctor. However, there were a lot of rumors circulating on the internet. There were even a few people who had been treated by Jing Yunzhao, ferociously promoting her medical skills. Immortal Crane Hall's reputation was not small. After Shen Tong's incident, the number of patients had increased by several times. Now, in order to prove that Jing Yunzhao's medical skills were amazing, people had specially come to Immortal Crane Hall to check it out. Immortal Crane Hall was huge. In the past, there were many places that had been emptied out and even seemed a little desolate. Now that there were many people who came to seek treatment, old physician Yu Fu decided to tidy up all the places. Because there were many more physicians in the hall previously, they could handle it. For the next few days, Jing Yunzhao donated money as promised, and her reputation was at its peak. Under her influence, Xiao Haiqing's previous troubles suddenly became less eye-catching. Because of the previous incident, many people remembered her name. Now that she had suddenly made a comeback, she gained countless fans. On the other hand, Muru couldn't do it. In a short time, she became notorious. She had indeed done those dirty things, so it was impossible for her to clear her name like Xiao Haiqing. Moreover, Xiao Haiqing had Jing Yunzhao as her backing. But Muru only had a few men behind her who were attracted to her beauty. Those men only cared about the body and not the person. After playing with her enough, why would they care about her life or death? What's more, even though the public wasn't clear about the situation, the people in the industry knew that the person who exposed Xiao Haiqing's past was Muru. Xiao Haiqing's ending was most likely Jing Yunzhao's doing. Behind Jing Yunzhao stood two large companies and the capital's leader. Who would be stupid enough to go against her? In these few days, Muru and Xiao Daoan felt as though they were living in hell. All the itinerary that the former had signed was now gone, and even her agent had abandoned her. She wanted to go out, but a group of anti-fans blocked the door, and some even tried to spray paint and throw rubbish at her house. Xiao Daoan was even more miserable. His phone was already exploding with calls. He had no choice but to turn it off. He didn't dare to turn it on at all. He only felt that the ringtone was like a death song. It made his scalp tingle, and he wanted to throw the phone away. More importantly, there was someone outside waiting for him at the door for 20 to 40 hours a day. Not to mention the company. He couldn't even go to the market. He had almost finished all the stock at home. Not only that, Zhang Rong was the one who cooked in the house. Although the taste was not as good as the housekeeper's, it was still palatable. However, since Zhang Rong could not be contacted and he was trapped, he could only cook by himself. After living for most of his life, he couldn't even control simple cooking. He had parents when he was young. When he was in his teens, he met Haiqing's mother and was taken care of by her. He had always been well-fed, and it seemed like he had a hard life, but in reality, he was living like a young master. Chapter 1187. There was only rice and no vegetables in this house. Xiao Daoan didn't even know basic common sense, so he could only eat half-cooked rice every day. He looked thinner than before, and after being harassed by the people outside, he looked even more haggard. The dark circles under his eyes were serious, and the beard on his face hadn't been shaved. He looked extremely pitiful. However, Xiao Daoan wasn't a fool. After all, he had been running the company for so many years, so he knew a little about these schemes. It was just that he used to think that his wife and daughter were ignorant and insensible, so much so that he didn't even bother to think about them. However, now that Zhang Rong suddenly stabbed him in the back, he couldn't help but think about it carefully. This matter affected his daughter the most. The only thing he did these days was read the comments on the internet and found that Xiao Haiqing became famous because of this matter. She occupied the headlines and even had more fans than before. Therefore, it was very likely that from the beginning, his daughter wanted to drag him into the water to prove her innocence. Come to think of it, although his daughter had become obedient and sensible in recent years, she was simply undisciplined. Didn't she do many things that disappointed him in the past? It wasn't impossible for her to harm him now. However, he didn't expect that he had raised a vicious wolf. Xiao Daoan was thinking about it when there was a sudden commotion outside. "Little Xiao, are you here to see your father?" Xiao Daoan vaguely heard someone ask. At this time, Xiao Haiqing got out of the car. Jing Yunzhao didn't appear in the car to prevent these people from going even crazier. "Thank you for taking care of my father these days, but no matter what, he is still my biological father, so I still hope that everyone will give him a chance, and also give us a chance," Xiao Haiqing said straightforwardly. Give her a chance to make her father regret his past. She was a public figure, so she had to do something to save face. Even if everyone in the world knew that Xiao Daoan didn't treat her well and abandoned her like a worn-out shoe, she had to repay evil with good. Even if she was unwilling, she still had to do what she had to do. Otherwise, if someone could use the crime of murder to attack her today, they could use the crime of being unfilial to suppress her again in the future. The forgetfulness of people was very great. If they saw her father living pitifully and humbly, they would definitely feel pity. How would they remember the grievances she had suffered? Therefore, she had to make an appearance. Xiao Haiqing's "take care of" made Xiao Daoan, who was inside the sect, want to spit out a mouthful of old blood. In the past few days, these people outside had almost driven him to death. This was because he did not know how many more days he could last. He did not even dare to eat his fill, in case he did not have any food left in the future. Because his phone was exploding with calls, he could not call anyone at all. What's more, he also knew what his company was like. It was already on the verge of collapse, and now it was even worse. If he didn't show up for a few days, those people in the company might not be able to stay. And Xiao Haiqing had only just arrived. For an entire week, he had been trapped in this small space for 7 days. He even had to say that he was taken care of by these people. However, despite the hatred in his heart, there was still some hope because he really didn't want to be trapped any longer. He wanted to eat now, relax, and have a good night's sleep. "Little Xiao, your father treated you like this. Why do you still want to find him? Why didn't this kind of person sever their father-daughter relationship? Someone asked angrily. Xiao Haiqing pondered for a moment. I believe that one day, he will know that money and family are more important. Chapter 1188. After Xiao Haiqing finished her sentence, she smiled heartily at everyone. She had only said half of that sentence. So what if her father knew that kinship was more important? Her admiration for her father had long been tormented to nothing, and all that was left were the warm memories from when she was young. Even if he changed, she wouldn't be able to forgive him. However, the people in front of her were moved by her words and hurriedly said, "Can we interview your father? He's been in the house for the past few days and hasn't come out. Won't it be hard for everyone to report back?" Sure. Xiao Haiqing nodded. In the house, Xiao Daoan's old face twitched fiercely. He was so angry that his head was dizzy. His large hand slammed onto the table, and he instantly felt a wave of pain. This girl actually agreed to it. She actually let people interview him? Could it be that she didn't know what kind of words this group of people would say? But in the blink of an eye, Xiao Daoan heaved a sigh of relief because Xiao Haiqing didn't have the key to this house. But just as he was thinking that, a rustling sound came from the door. Not long later, there was a kacha sound, and the door was opened. Instantly, his scalp felt like it was going to explode, and he stared at the door without blinking. That woman Jiang Rong actually gave the key to Xiao Haiqing? Another sound rang out, and a glimmer of light appeared outside the dark red door. When Xiao Daoan saw it, he suddenly rushed towards Xiao Haiqing. He must strangle this rebellious girl to death. In the past, she would think of ways to anger him every day. At that time, he would let it go on account of her young age. But now, she actually became more and more severe and even learned to use tricks on him. His deceased wife was such a gentle and graceful person. How could she give birth to such an unrepentant thing? After all, Xiao Haiqing was someone who had learned martial arts from Jing Yunjiao. Her reaction was also fast. Feeling her father's anger approaching, she immediately turned her head to the side and pretended to avoid it by accident. Xiao Daoan was driven by inertia, and his whole person missed and directly rushed outside, crashing into the wall outside. Instantly, those people who were waiting to interview him swarmed forward. Even if he wanted to return to the house, he couldn't hide. Xiao Haiqing, you bastard, you actually got someone to scheme against your own father. I've raised you for nothing all these years. I must beat you to death. Xiao Daoan shouted angrily. Dad, if you want to hit me, then hit me. But let's talk about it when everyone has left. As you can see, so many people have been waiting for you here for so long. No matter what, you have to understand everyone's hard work, right? Xiao Haiqing said indifferently. She had learned quite a bit about pretending to be a White Lotus. Even if her skill level wasn't high, it was enough for her. Xiao Daoan's heart was stifled, and he felt terrible. He was being pulled by someone and couldn't go back at all. The only way was to force himself to answer the question. Mr. Xiao, are you happy that your daughter is so promising? Not happy. Xiao Daoan was gritting his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. He felt that the person who was asking him this question was blind. Could it be that he couldn't see his present state? She actually asked him if he was happy. His daughter was stepping on his head to climb up. What was there to be happy about? Then, Mr. Xiao, that is to say that you don't feel that you're in the wrong at all? For a little bit of benefit, it's natural for you to sell your daughter? The interviewer asked again. I'm not selling my daughter for glory. Xiao Daoan also knew that he had to defend himself. Thus, with an ashen face, he said that James was also rich and powerful back then. What's wrong with me choosing a good man for my daughter? Chapter 1189. Xiao Daoan's self-righteous words stunned the others. To be honest, such a father was not common. Although most fathers were more strict, they would definitely put their children's lifelong happiness first. Those who considered benefits before their children were definitely pitifully few. Seeing the surprised gazes of others, Xiao Daoan tried his best to restrain his anger so that he would not appear so aggressive. He continued to explain, if it weren't for me, she wouldn't have had the money to go to school at all. If it weren't for me, She might not even have been able to live until now. I did not ask about her and did introduce her to James, but I am her biological father. Everything I did was for her own good, but she went against me everywhere and insisted on competing with me on everything. As a daughter, not only was she unfilial, she even wanted to slander me. The thing I regret the most now is that I didn't strangle her to death when she was born. When everyone heard that, their eyelids twitched. Wasn't it natural for a father to raise a child after giving birth? Otherwise, what was the point of giving birth? Why did it sound like raising a child was a grievance in his words? Even if it was a grievance, it shouldn't be his turn, right? After all, he wasn't the one who carried the child for 10 months. Mr. Xiao, did you really raise her? Although you gave her some financial support, didn't you also sell her mother's house? Not only that, according to our information, when you first started your business, you didn't use your second wife's money, but Xiao Xiao's mother's. Although her family wasn't extremely wealthy, because she was the only daughter in the family, your father-in-law and mother-in-law gave all their savings to you. The interviewer said. These words were all heard from Jiang Rong and were later verified. Xiao Daoan choked. He had even forgotten. It was such a long time ago that he really couldn't remember clearly. At that time, many girls started going on blind dates when they were 17 or 18 years old. That was how he met his late wife. At that time, she had 2 braids and baby fat on her face. Although she wasn't very beautiful, looking at her made him feel comfortable and made him feel like he was at home. His parents were older and could not take care of him most of the time. Later on, they passed away early. Therefore, the moment he saw his late wife, he had a feeling that he wanted to start a family and give her the best things. This was his initial intention of starting a business. At that time, he swore to his late wife that he would let her live a good life, that their family would be together forever, and that he would treat her parents as his own. In the beginning, he did it. They lived together, and his parents-in-law gave him all their savings. They were still young and newly married, so naturally, their relationship was sweet. But as time passed, he began to yearn for success more and more. His business was really too difficult. He had no backing and no family background. Everyone looked down on him, causing him to be ostracized. As a result, his temper grew worse day by day. He didn't want to face his wife's kind and sympathetic face after being bullied outside. So he came home less and less often. Slowly, he wanted to prove himself, not for that woman. Later on, she suddenly passed away. The moment he lost his wife, he was really sad, but he also felt relieved because he owed his wife too much. He felt guilty, ashamed, and unable to raise his head in front of her. Chapter 1190. Xiao Daoan was in a trance for a moment. He recalled that his wife's life was not bad when she first married him. If it wasn't for Jiang Rong handing over all her savings to him, her later days wouldn't have been so difficult. Xiao Daoan didn't know what to say at first. After a few seconds, he said, "That's between us husband and wife. Besides, I didn't take much from her, less than 100,000. But how much have I spent raising her for so many years? Tuition fees, clothes, and even bought her a lot of gifts before. It's more than enough." Xiao Haiqing smiled when she heard that. The gifts he was talking about should have been bought when his business was at its peak. They were all socialite dresses, and Jiang Rong had chosen them. The others were speechless. Wasn't Xiao Daoan doing business? Didn't he know that 100,000 yuan in the past was completely different from now? Mr. Xiao, there are very few fathers who care so much about how much they've contributed. The interviewer couldn't help but say that. Then, he said, "I think you need to apologize to your daughter no matter what. Whether you're willing or not, you should bear the consequences of your past mistakes. Mr. Xiao, can you tell me how you'll treat little Xiao in the future? She's very popular now, and her value will definitely continue to rise. Will you think of squandering her money?" Xiao Daoan frowned and stared fiercely at Xiao Haiqing. These people were probably hired by her, right? Otherwise, why would the questions that were asked be filled with such a strong sense of targeting? Immediately, he was a little angry and said directly, "There's no reason for a father to apologize to his daughter in this world. Besides, she splashed dirty water on her own father. Shouldn't she be beaten and punished?" Xiao Daoan said angrily. If this group of people had interviewed him with a fair attitude, his temper would definitely have been restrained. But now, he could see that it was all done by Xiao Haiqing. The other party was completely speechless. He didn't know if he should use the word shameful to describe this so-called father. He looked at Xiao Haiqing sympathetically and shook his head silently. Little Xiao, we're done asking. Thank you for your accommodation this time. And you have to work hard, one of them said. After that, the others also chimed in to encourage her. Although everyone knew that little Xiao must have deliberately embarrassed her father really deserved it. With Xiao Haiqing around, these people quickly dispersed. As soon as he left, Xiao Dao immediately said angrily, "Why did you only come now? Were you the one who instigated this? Where is Jiang Rong?" "Dad, you seem to be very angry?" Xiao Haiqing suddenly smiled. "How can I not be angry? You unfilial daughter. You actually dared to scheme against me. Have you grown capable?" Xiao Daoan dragged Xiao Haiqing back into the house and pointed at her nose as he scolded her. Xiao Haiqing dusted her arms, and her eyes became sharp. "Yes, I schemed against you, but I learned this from you, Dad. I'm treating you the same way you treated me in the past. But I'm not as stupid as you, and I suffered a double loss. You've been at home for so many days, so you must have seen it online. Your daughter, I won around against you, and won beautifully. Unfilial daughter. How did I give birth to such an evil creature like you?" As he spoke, he reached out to hit Xiao Haiqing. Xiao Haiqing smiled brightly and reached out to block him. "Dad, you'd better not be angry. I'm still hoping that you'll live a long life and watch me obtain things that you've never had before." After that, she flung his arm away and turned to look into the house. "Before I came, I already went to your company to take a look. There was no one there, and they all ran away. Dad, your business is really a failure." You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.